Hey, that's better. We're back. Jacob, Daniel, Joseph. Where's the button? Is Michael? Looks like 1, 2. We got 9 players, right?
Looking pretty dapper today for not getting a lot of
2
sleep.
from Michigan.
Well, your state.
From Indiana.
On these cards, guys, too. So with the RFID, when you put it over the thing, these cards are a little thicker, so try not to snap them too hard because it can break the wire. Then we have to pause and switch out cards. So.
Be on top of each other?
What's that? So you can be on top, separate, however you want to do it. They just need to be on the sensor for at least 2 seconds.
So how come you got to do that and show the camera?
Because this is what picks up to the live stream. It shows the actual, like the digital display. So if you have ace, it'll say ace of spades, ace of hearts. It puts it up there automatically.
Yeah.
Where then this is more for look. It shows the cards. So I don't even know.
Well played.
Yeah.
They use it for the broadcast sometimes.
Mike's got 8.
Doesn't make any sense. That doesn't feed anywhere, right?
We used to ask the guys, who do you think's going to win? Dumb question. Who do you think's going to win? This guy goes, well, I really think Brad in the 4 seat's going to win. It was one of the players. You know, he's really great. He's got the most chips, and I think he's going to win. I'm like, wow. And he was like this mathematician. He goes, I calculated the odds, what I have, what they have, and I think I'll finish 3rd. And I think he finished 4th. Right, yeah.
I don't think they're going to
Gosh,
show
that
it on the
Vicksburg
live
event for
stream.
you,
They're
watching
not
that
gonna show
back,
the whole
it was
game.
hard to watch. It was hard to call. 7s one episode.
No, they're not.
7s.
They're not going to say they're
9s, I think, and then Kings. I mean, it was just.
That's a nice job, guys.
Look at this. Look at this. We got the audience here. Holy cow.
In the 1 seat, we have Jake Bumgarner from Spring Lake, Michigan, with 2,770,000 in chips in the 1 seat. Let's give Jake a round of applause in the 1 seat. And in the 2 seat, we have Daniel Galitza with 1,365,000 in chips from Libertyville, Illinois. Let's give Daniel in the 2 seat a round of applause. Daniel's best finish so far is 11th place in the HPT final table. And in the 3 seat, we have Joe Alpayo with 2,835,000 in chips from Forest Park, Illinois. Let's give Joe in the 3 seat a round of applause.
Joe.
And in the 4 seat, we have Vin Tran with 2,235,000 in chips from Aurora, Illinois. Let's give Vin in the 4 seat a round of applause. And in the 5 seat, we have Stan Jablonski with 1,050,000 in chips from Bullhead City, Arizona. Let's give Stan a round of applause in the 5 seats. This is actually Stan's 9th HPT final table. Stan has 2 second places so far, so he's looking to do better than that today.
No win.
And in the 6th seat, we have Mike Hen with 2,965,000 chips from Indianapolis, Indiana. Let's give Mike a round of applause in the 6th seat. Mike has a 7th place at a final table in St. Louis and a 10th place just recently in December at Belterra. Mike is our chip leader here at the final table. And in the 7th seat, we have Jerry Semenis with 905,000 chips from Arlington Heights, Illinois. Let's give Jerry a round of applause in the 7th seats. Jerry has a 14th place before, so this is Jerry's best place so far at the HPT final table. And in the 8th seat, we have Breck Shooten with 1,565,000 chips from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Let's give Breck in the 8th seat a round of applause. And in the 9th seat, we have Nick Wachowski from Hobart, Indiana, with 2,015,000 chips. Let's give Nick in the 9th seat a round of applause.
All right, Nick.
Hello everyone, Jeremy Smith here for the Heartland Poker Tour. We're at the Ameristar Casino in East Chicago, Indiana. We had 590 players in the main event. We're down to our final 9. Let's get the cards in the air.
All right, thanks so much to our tournament director, Jeremy Smith, and welcome inside the beautiful Ameristar Casino Hotel in Chicago. James Larson with the HPT, joined by a couple of regulars here on the HPT. I've got to my left Dave Goodfriend and Craig the Legend Casino. A couple of champions in the booth with me and a couple of local Chicago guys. How's everything going?
Going terrific. Exciting final table to look forward to. Don't think we're going to see too much action early on with the stacks the way they are, Craig, but a lot of good players here.
There sure are. Thanks for the introduction,
Nick
James.
In the 9 seat's going to be first act. He's under the gun.
With you today, you and David. Thank you.
All right, any predictions here, guys, before we get started? I know it's always tough to put you on the spot, but one of your buddies at the final table, guys. We got Jablonski making his, I believe, 9th final table.
Will he finally be no longer a bridesmaid, Craig?
I don't know. You know, Stan's my favorite for today, of course. But when they were introducing the players, they mentioned that Stan had 9 final tables.
Daniel Folds
and
over
then
Joe in the 3 seat.
With all humility, said, but 0 wins. And all of us who play this game know how the stars have to align to win one of these. I mean, Phil Ivey actually made 9 World
And
Poker
Joe's going to make the
Tour
call.
final
Vin Folds
tables
over to
with
Stan in
only
the 5
6
seats.
players before he won.
100,000 is the
He's
current
Phil
bet.
Ivey. So,
Unbelievable.
you know,
Folds
it's
over
not
Mike.
that easy to get there. So.
And
In the
Stan
6th
folds King Jack there to raise from Joe.
fold over
He's
to Derry now in
got
the small
about
blind.
22,
100,000 is the
23
current
big, 25 big blinds. He's one of the shorter stacks here and decided not to get involved there with King Jack. But Breck in the big blind, I think he's going to play these.
Jerry Folds over to Breck. In the 8
Blinds
seats.
are 20,000,
And Breck's gonna make the
40,000
call.
right now,
100,000
gentlemen.
and a
Is that
call. Gonna be 3 players.
no? It's 2550. It looks like.
At 590
Oh, and
entries.
Jake raised from early position. I missed that. Joe called with 8s.
All right, going to be 3 players to the fold. Let's see the
King
flop.
Jack, and then Brexton calls out of the big blind, so we got 3-way
Flop
action.
is
Go to the
Diamonds,
flop and
deuce
look
of
at that
spades,
right in
8
the
of
window.
diamonds.
8,
Breck's gonna be
4
first
deuce.
act
You
in
see
the
the
8
8 of diamonds. So great flop there from Joe. As he flops
I
us.
tell you what, that could be an omen. I mean, you sit down your first hand at a TV table and you flop a set. That's tough to overcome for other players.
And guys, talk about the jitters of that first hand. You know, you got the lights, the camera, you got the studio audience. It's probably nice to, he hasn't won it yet, but it's probably nice to get that first hand out of the way.
And interestingly enough, that flop did get checked around. And yes, I remember when I've been playing these final tables, the palm sweat is palatable.
Absolutely.
The first hand of the day. I don't think Joe can slow play these 8s any longer.
Well, I'll guarantee you Stan's not nervous at all. He's just here to play the game and see what happens.
I think you're right about that.
So Jake, the original Razors delayed c-bet here on the flop, and I think we could safely say, Craig, the raise is in order.
Yeah, I would think so. And Breck's sitting there. If he's able to make the call and that 3 was to show up, we're going to see fireworks on the first hand.
We are going to see some fireworks. You're right about that.
But
the odds of that are pretty slim.
yeah, there's the chances of him. He's going to be raising here 100% of the time, I think.
Got to give Joe the award here for the best hair at the final table. This guy's got it going on.
Hey, you can't see Vin's hair very well because he's got it in a little ponytail. Vin's got some impressive hair as well.
Okay, now interesting here, just a call.
And Joe's going to make the call out of the 3 seat, 155,000
Okay.
call.
There's a lot of acting there for that call, so we'll see.
And Breck's going to get out of the way. So
I wish we knew what Jacob had, obviously, but
kind of fun. It's the wild card here, and the river card now is the 9 of diamonds.
Somehow the 6-7 got there in addition to a flush draw. And these are 2 of the 3 biggest stacks. Mike Hahn being the other big person that came in today with more than 70 big blinds. And
you mentioned Joe's hair. He, when I saw him on the World Poker Tour a few years back, he finished 6th. He was in a memorable hand, which maybe I'll talk about later, but his hair was more like Stan Jablonski's back then, so something's changed.
And he's got over $1 million in lifetime earnings. His biggest career cash is $300,000 for Joe, and he's a very, very accomplished player, along with Stan Jablonski, one of 2 players at this final table with more than $1 million in lifetime earnings. And he does get paid off on a set here on the river. Jacob's out. Jacob's gonna post his hand.
He's trying to see what he had there.
You know, he didn't turn his cards over. He just mucked up, and
so the first hand is going to go to Joe as we broadcast here from the Ameristar
and he
Casino
won
Hotel,
a
Chicago.
good amount of chips. He won 375 on the river, 155 on the flop, plus the 300 before the flop. He picked up, you know, close to 800,000 in chips, and now he is our solid chip leader at this final table after hand number 1.
So guys, you know, you talk about the money involved. Is that something you're thinking about when you're down to the final 9? I mean, first place, $190,417, but you got to almost forget about that, don't you, Craig? You got to really concentrate on the poker.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, if you're sitting there thinking about, I mean, a lot of players, obviously everybody's financial situation is a little bit different. So if you're thinking about moving up steps, it's going to cause you to play much differently than if you're playing to win the game,
right,
and not worrying about it. But I don't know, you win these tournaments with aggression, in my opinion, in most cases. And to improve your odds of getting there, you have to be willing to put chips in the middle.
It's a conundrum. It's the ultimate conundrum because ICM-wise, you have to be aware of the pay jumps, and you don't want to do something crazy, especially when somebody's down to 1 or 2 big blinds and go out a lot earlier than you should. And on the other hand, though, Craig has a point, though. If you're playing to win, though, you really can't be that concerned with some of the smaller play jumps, and you've got to play in a way that's going to allow you to the best chance of winning. So Stan opens here with 2 Broadway cards from middle position.
Nick now in the 9 seed. He's going to fold. So we'll be heads up now to the flop. Stan and Jerry. Jerry started with 905,000. We go to the flop. It's a couple of 6s and a jack.
These are the 2 shortest stacks at the table, butting heads here on hand number 2. Both of them with less than 30 big blinds to start the hand. Not very deep at all, Craig. And because of that, their strategies obviously have to be different than the other 7 players.
It does. And Stan makes the continuation bet, which, I don't know, you listen to a lot of announcers, they're saying you should always make, but I don't think you need to always make it. I mean, in this situation with Jerry's body language, I would say it's a good bet in this case. but we don't again know what Jerry's got.
225.
Jerry's got something.
Yeah,
It
he
appears.
should be. It appears.
He had continuation bet very small. He bet
Stan's gonna fold and Jerry.
the continuation bet very small and got raised by Jerry, and Jerry takes it down, and I believe now basically Stan and Jerry are going to swap stacks there. Stan the shortest stack here with 860,000 and Jerry up to 1.2 million.
Not here.
Sitting here with a couple of HPT champions, David Goodfriend and Craig Casino. And I remember both of your guys' your first victory. I remember it very well, Craig, over there in Colorado. Was it the largest at the time? Our largest field ever?
Still might be the
Yeah, it
largest.
still is
think so.
the largest first place figure, but it's not the most players. I mean, I think we had 680, and the HPTs had some fields around 800, but they've changed the payout structure, so that's why it's retained, the largest first place payout.
And I remember Dave's in Michigan at Soaring Eagle, and we drank champagne afterwards, and then we went straight to the bar after that. And at 2:45, they said, "All right, knuckleheads, go to your rooms. You guys are out of here."
Wow, that seems like such a long time ago.
I know.
Why does it seem like you're always out drinking with
No,
the
it
HPT
doesn't mean
winners
we
there,
were hanging
James?
out. We were
With the
hanging out.
HPT winners.
Let's
I
get
don't know.
back to the action here.
We
Michael
got a-
with nines.
We got a hand here. Stan opens up from a 20 big blind stack with eights, and Mike wakes up behind him with nines, and he just flat calls.
This could be really bad
This
for
could be
Stan
real
right
bad
now,
for Stan. This
with
could
his
be-
stack being what it is.
Yeah, this could be his tournament life, depending on how
Raise.
the rest of his hand shapes up. And
Us-
now Jerry's announced the raise. Jerry with ace nine.
200,000.
This could save Stan. It will. I'm pretty sure it will save Stan.
This
Actually,
could actually get Stan into a great spot. If Stan sticks it in, Michael folds,
Right.
and two of the nines are already
Right,
gone.
right.
I think with two players ahead of Stan though, with a call now a 3-bet, I think Stan's got to worry about what Michael's going to do. So I'm guessing Stan's going to fold.
Stan's such a smart player, and he's a very patient player too, Craig. Very patient.
He is.
Guys, Jerry's one of the few players at this table I know nothing about. You just look at him, he's an older guy. I'm really surprised at this 3-bet given
Yeah.
the stack with the hand that he's got the ace 9
Look at that,
suited.
and Stan's gonna lay it down.
Power of the 3-bet.
Michael will call if he doesn't call or raise on him.
Nine, such a fun hand to play. Of course, Joe Cata won his World Series of Poker main event with pocket nines.
Look who's in the background.
Michael's an excellent player. He's thinking, I know I'm supposed to raise here, but do I really want to commit that many chips at this point? So he's going to call and hope to hit the flop.
Puccio's like just a bad penny. This guy just shows up everywhere, right?
Well, he's here to support his man Danny, so there's no good things about
Oh,
that.
look at that, guys. The 8 of spades. We got to get a shot of Stan. The flop comes out.
Yep.
Queen, Jack 8. Look at Jablonski.
Yep, he's shaking his head.
Look at him.
It may turn out, though, that somebody
right.
ends up with a
With a
straight
straight,
here, and then he'll
absolutely.
realize how lucky he got.
Stan, he's looking at the chips that are in the middle going, wow, maybe those could have been mine.
Yeah, that's a
This
tough
is an
spot.
interesting hand right now. You've got Mike's looks like he's gonna lead here, and he's gonna put him all in. Wow.
Unbelievable. Look at Stan's really hating life now. But like you guys said, I mean,
Oh, is
somebody.
that, no, that's 40,000. Excuse me.
That's
I thought
40,000.
That's an incredibly small bet.
Well, he wants to see where he wants to see where he is. He's trying to make it look suspicious that he would only bet 40.
And look at this, Jerry now raising to 150,000 and a quick call.
And actually, Mike sees the turn relatively cheap there for 150,000, considering they put
Turn
200
card
in.
now is the 9
Wow,
of
see,
diamonds,
Stan
ladies and gentlemen.
would have been out for sure.
Mike checks over Jerry.
Wow,
Although he might have had to fold, thinking somebody's sitting on a 10 right now.
what a huge hand here. Yeah, good point.
This
good
hand
point.
is a long way from over, guys.
Long way from over.
Jerry's playing strong. Michael's going to have to call just to see if he hits the boat on the end.
175.
Oh,
Greg, you were in a
175. He's just going to call here.
Yep, he's hoping to hit the boat.
Jerry's got a half pot behind him now.
10 of spades.
Straight on the board.
Look at that. What a crazy hand.
I'll tell you one person who's real happy right now is Stan.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean,
Three better is the more likely person
It
to
would
have
have been
the
a
king
chop.
here. What a gross spot for Mike here. He's
Jeez.
hating life right now.
Unbelievable.
yeah, but you know what? You got to put in a big bet and bet him off the pot. Let him think you've got the king, because if he doesn't have a king, he's got to fold.
Jerry does not look like the guy that's
Or
gonna
even the
win.
flush possibility, because
Yeah.
the third spade came up on the end, so he might be thinking he was betting along on that. Even if he does have the king, this is a perfect spot for Mike to be making this bet right now.
Yeah, he puts them all in basically. I mean,
Yep.
leaves them with 5K, puts them all in.
Wow. It's so much easier here with the whole cards.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So many thoughts going through your mind. You're trying to replay every street.
And
Well,
this
if I
is
was
going to be an example of the chip stack and the power of aggression taking down a pot.
Wow.
that was a very disciplined laydown, but he almost had to. I mean, not only does the king beat him, but the two spades. I mean, Michael was hanging around for some reason along the way, so he had to figure he might also have a flush
A
draw.
little smile there by Mr. Jablonski.
Yeah.
A little smile there for. I'm surprised to see Mr. Hahn react that way after the hand that he
Yeah.
But he felt like he had the pot won before the card turn before the card flipped over on the river, and he still managed to find a way to take it down without.
Well, Dave, you
having
had talked about maybe play starting off slow here at this final table, and I think it's the opposite of that so far.
And what's
big
happened
hands.
is the two shortest stacks are now significantly shorter than they were at the start of the day. Both Jablonski and the older gentleman Jerry, they're both down to like 20 and 15 big blinds respectively, and Mike Hahn and Joe Playa, arguably the two best players at this table, have increased their chip stacks and are in the 90 big blinds, 90 big blind range right now, and Mike's going to open it up again.
Opens up to 85,000, folded around out of the 9 seat.
I'll tell you what, I have to give Michael Hahn a lot of credit. I played with him the first time maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and he wasn't a lot of fun to be at the table with. He didn't have a good demeanor, and everybody knew it. But I just walked up to him not too long ago, because I played with him a few times since. Told him he's really changed his table behavior. He's just a really nice kid, and he said he's been working real hard at being a different person, so you got to give him a lot of credit for that.
Flop is Queen 10-4. Michael Hahn finished 10th at our last event, Belterra. It was in December.
I look forward to being there in the middle of March.
Absolutely. Always a fun destination. All the information, by the way, for all of our events at hptpoker.com.
And even though this is a hand, this is a tournament being played in Chicago, you basically have the gentleman in the Lions shirt representing Michigan, Jake Baumgartner, against the gentleman representing Indianapolis, and Mike Hahn here. Very regionalized event this weekend with all the poker going on around the country. A tremendous turnout of almost 600 people.
Yeah, 590 entries. You're right. LAPC's going on. There's all kinds of things in the Midwest.
Florida,
There's always a lot
Borgata.
going on nowadays. There's
Isn't
always a
that
lot
true?
going
But
on
last
because
year
poker's just taken off.
Last year, this event didn't go up against Choctaw. I know it because I played them both last year. And look at this. Jake turns 2 pair against gutter ball from Mike, and I think Mike's going to have to give this one up on the.
That's 250,000. And Mike's going to fold.
Good disciplined fold there from Mike. Open with ace king, flop 2 overs and a gutter ball.
Out there with you watching today in the audience?
Not a lot of help on the
It's
table.
Carol, right?
Ran into Jacob
Casey's
at
out
the
there.
Sbarro this morning, and we both went to shake each other's hands.
He's
And
more
he
on
had
social
pizza on
media
his
than
hand, and I had
watching
pizza
us.
on my hand. I said, you know what? Let's just do a fist bump. We'll do it. We'll do the official handshake later.
Solid player, Jake is.
He sure is.
Yeah, I was talking to Barry Brown from Michigan. He plays in Jake's game, and he said those Western Michigan players are excellent players, and they are. They've got a lot of accomplishments. When he said that Jacob's probably the strongest player of the group from Western Michigan.
Jacob's plans for the cash. He says he's going to gamble it by staking bad players. So I assume there's a little bit of.
Can I get in line?
Yeah, right,
please?
yeah,
I
exactly.
qualify.
Yeah. I know a couple of guys. We'll send them your way, Jacob.
Well,
30
you
years
mentioned
old.
Belterra, James, coming up, so we're going to go back to that little breakfast place we went to last time we were there?
I think so. I remember
That
we
was
had some,
nice.
you, me, and Barry hung out in Belterra and had a great time. I'll see
was fun.
Barry this weekend as we're heading out on the HPT cruise as we're leaving Saturday for that, heading over to Fort Lauderdale and then off to Haiti, Jamaica, and Mexico. And folks, if you ever think about taking a cruise, try to join us on the HPT poker cruise with the Card Player magazine. You can do that next year. It's probably a little late now, but all the information at HPT poker. So nice to have the RFID working, guys. You know, this is still fairly
excellent.
new for us, and it's a whole lot of fun and really improves the live web stream. Want to thank our great HPT poker crew, all the guys behind the scenes.
Well, it's why the players have all gotten so much better. I mean, there's a noticeable change in the players in the last just 5 years on the HPT. With these live streams where you can see all the cards, when you see these hands on television, on like the World Poker Tour, the Heartland Poker Tour, you're only seeing the best hands. It might be 12 hours of tournament, and you're seeing maybe 30 hands out of that whole thing, and they're the most interesting ones. But it doesn't really show you how players play weak hands as a rule, and now everybody's learning the game. So you always got to be thinking one step ahead.
By the way, I just want to correct something I said earlier. The blinds are still 20,000, 40,000 as I originally thought, with 5,000 ante, and we had a continuation bet from Vin. He got called by Brexton with a gutter ball, might have been trying to float. Now he's got a double gutter with that queen jack, and Vin's given up the aggression by checking the turn.
8 of diamonds here on the turn.
I think I would have bet that turn if I was sitting in Breck's seat.
I wonder why we keep losing some hands here sporadically. I hope we can get that figured out at some point, so that and it's jumping around to different players. It's not like it's the same player all the time.
Equal opportunity mistake.
Yeah.
Check here, and Vin checks back the turn and river with top pair and a good kicker, and can't get Breck to bet it back at him. Takes down a nice pot.
Your first player eliminated today will go home with just under $17,000. Fifth place money, almost $39,000. Second place is six figures, $117,631. And your champion tonight will go home with $190,417. You guys do anything fun with the money? Buy yourself anything when you won? I know Craig probably did. He saved it for a rainy day, but did you guys take yourself out for a steak dinner or anything the next day?
I took a couple young men out for a nice dinner, but as far as going out and buying things, it just goes into the bank. That's the funnest part of making a big score is taking that check to the bank and making the deposit.
Absolutely.
Well, you got to pay your taxes, of course. You got to donate to charity, and I've got 5 kids and 8 grandkids, and there's college always to think about. So there's always something good you can do with the money.
Well, look at this. It's Groundhog Day here for Michael. Pocket nines getting to the race to 100.
Brooks got pocket aces.
Look at this.
He's got 30 big blinds and pocket aces. How is he going to go about playing the hand here? I would guess he's going to 3-bet it.
Breck's going to re-raise.
Re-raise now by Brett. Over to Nick with King 8.
See how big that 3-raise is? 215,000, so it's not a very big 3-bet. Mike's not going to fold to that.
No, he sure isn't.
And he's probably getting the right price to call, given the hand and the stack sizes.
Michael's probably thinking maybe he's just testing me here to see, I've been playing some hands. Maybe he's just trying to play back at me. But usually when you got low and middle pair, you know that you got a tough road to go. You're going to be calling some streets, because if you don't hit the set, you got to wonder: am I crushed by an overpair, or I'm only 50-50 if he's got ace king or ace queen.
Flop is 10-8-4, couple of clubs. The ace is still good. Michael is going to check over to Breck.
That flop's going to keep Michael in the hand, because he's going to put him on 2 overcards.
Bet is 200,000.
Make the call, 200,000 and the call.
So now Breck has 820 behind with 935 in the middle. Mike picks up a gutter ball, a draw heavy board with 2 clubs, 2 spades, and I don't think Mike can continue here.
Mike, actually, this is probably scarier to Michael that Breck didn't shove all in, and he's making a $300,000 bet here. I think if he shoved, Michael might talk himself into calling. He probably wouldn't, but he might. But with this smaller bet, $300,000, I think it would be scarier to Michael.
He did only bet a third of the pot. He left himself at 520 behind.
He's going to fold.
Good
fold.
discipline.
Good fold.
Well played, Mike.
Breck's going to pick up that pot. Over $1 million chips. So yeah, we're seeing a little bit of action here.
We're seeing some, real hands.
Seeing
9s versus aces there, 8s and 9s.
Yeah, 8s and 9s, a straight comes on the board, all kinds of fun stuff. All right, guys, it's James Larson here alongside a couple of past HPT champions. And once you're an HPT champion, you're always an HPT champion.
Can't take that away from
You
me,
can
no
never
matter how
take it
bad I
away.
play.
Yeah, Dave Goodfriend and Craig Casino, we're so glad you joined us tonight here at twitch.tv. And, you know, guys, I really want to thank everybody here at the property. They've just done a great job to get all of these entries in and out of here. Almost 600. It's been great. And I just want to thank the dealers and the floor staff for a fantastic tournament here in the Chicagoland area.
They always do a great job here. It's a good spot to come.
And
Since you guys have moved in this locale to this facility, it's been significantly better, and it has been noticed by the players.
yeah, and I love this room up here. We're actually in a banquet room. You know, we're not on the boat. We're outside the boat here in this beautiful banquet room. So got some of the best coffee in the Chicagoland area too. Hey, real quick, guys, the Chicago Cubs World Series trophy coming to my hometown next week, Cedar Rapids. We got it for 90 minutes. 90 minutes it's going to be in town, so we're going to get some fun pictures and take some stuff. So we'll talk more about Cubs baseball. Dave, I want to let...
I do have my champion's hat on.
Can we get a shot of this, Kurt?
They've seen it already.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
sure.
do you think the Cubs can do it again? Because I do.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, there's so much youth and the pitching and the hitters. I mean, this is a good ball club.
Well, I'm a White Sox fan, but I rooted for the Cubs. I'm not one of those fans that roots against the Cubs. But I told a bunch of my friends who are getting older, and I said, you know, it's a crime that your dads went through their whole life being Cub fans, and they passed away, and they never got to see this. And now you guys are on the verge of death. He said, so you better hope they do it pretty soon.
They're going to be good for a long time.
They really are.
It's hard to, you know.
Man, we're seeing some big hands here.
Yeah, look at this. Nick with Kings now.
Nick's gonna raise.
And he doesn't have 20 million. I know that.
90,000 is the raise by Nick.
No.
Raises to 90,000. Look at this. Jacob with ace-9. Daniel with ace-jack. And now Joe with pocket trays.
90,000 and a call.
I think Joe's going to call and try to flop a set.
Boy, Joe's really got that rock star look going. He's got the
Yeah.
scarf, he's got the shirt, he's got the hair.
Vin on the button. He's gonna pull it, stand down the small blind.
Vin's been pretty quiet here on the button. He's going to fold.
He played his. He won a hand with his ace queen.
He was still quiet when he did it, though.
Yeah. He's always quiet.
I know you, James, so you're going to be asking Joe where he gets his shirts and his scarf and stuff.
Probably, yeah, exactly.
You're not too far away from there.
We'll talk
And
to
Mike Hahn priced into a call with 7-4 off, trying to flop trips or a straight draw or two pair.
All right, let's see the
Nick
flop.
with the best of it right now with his two black kings. We go to the flop. And the flop is ace-6 Duke, company with a couple of spades. So that's the problem with kings. Is
Yeah.
You get a flop like that and you got two other players in the hand or three other players in the hand. You're thinking, all right. But he's going to bet right into it here.
I'll tell you, sometimes you see players, they've got those kings and they make a big raise, a big bet or a big over raise, and then their excuse is, I just didn't want to see an ace hit the board. You're losing all the value in the hand. You've got to just play that more conservatively a little bit or make an average raise, then just hope you don't see the ace. And if you do, then decide what to do after that. But you can't lose value when you've got a big pre-flop hand like that.
Now the rest of this hand could be interesting because Dan's down to a little more than a pot-sized bet behind. He's got not the greatest ace in the world, but if Nick checks behind, Dan's going to hope to get the showdown with his ace here. And probably go check on the river.
8 of hearts now. And look at this, Nick. It looks like he's going to bet.
He's going to take a small little stab at it.
Yeah, 200,000.
Why don't you tell everybody the denoms out there, Mr. Goodfriend? What are we playing
Looks
with?
like the blue chips are 100,000, the gold chips are 25,000, and the gray chips are 5,000. This is a pretty easy call for Dan, getting the price that he's getting.
Absolutely.
He's got a nice job.
See you winner.
He's going to make the call, and he's going to win the hand.
And it was, I think, Craig, would you describe Nick's bet on the river a blocker bet?
Yeah. So that he didn't want him to turn around and bet 500,000 on him and have to make a tough decision with ace jack. And by the same token, the bet amount being well, let me scratch that. Never mind. Sorry about that, guys.
It was a small river bet.
Tee out of position. I didn't play my.
Yeah, it was
my
small.
eight,
It
so
was
it's
small.
not too terrible.
And unfortunately, our chip counts are a little bit off right now. We're going to have to correct Nick's chip
fold.
count,
It's been
but
amazing.
chip leader right now is Joe.
No,
Second in chips is Mike, and third
I wasn't
in
going
chips
anywhere.
is Jake.
You were a big man.
There we go. Nice job, Kirk.
85 BB, 74 for Mike, Vin with 60. You see at the bottom of the group there, Stan Jablonski with 17 big blinds still, and Jerry with 15. So
They're getting close to being in some trouble. They're going to have to look for spots to, shove shove over raises. And
talk about the fatigue factor, guys. They were playing all weekend. I don't know what time we ended up stopping last night.
looked like, according to the blog, like 2 a.m.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
got to be hard to sleep, Craig, when you
It
know you're
is.
about
You're-
to play at a final table for 200,000 the next day.
You're just wired. You're running through all the hands in your head, and so you look back on it, and you maybe fall asleep at 4 or 5 o'clock,
And then all of a sudden
then
the alarm's going off.
or the sun's just coming up, and you just sense that the light's out there, and you get up after 3 or 4 hours. Your adrenaline will carry you for a little bit at the beginning of these, but you start getting 5, 6, 7, 8 hours into it after no sleep for a night or two. It weighs on you.
The other thing you're thinking about is the hands that you played against your opponents at this final table, and when it's fresh in your mind, and how you might go about attacking some of your opponents the next day.
Correct.
Mike calling here out of the small blind with suited connectors. I wish Jerry, we don't see his cards again.
Well, let's go ahead and we'll play. This is the mystery hand. I want you guys to try to get a read on Jerry.
Okay, well, Jerry here
Defending.
defended out of a 14 big blind, 14, 15 big blind stack.
He could have
He
anything.
could have anything. Just could have hit him at 6 straight
This
deuce,
is,
couple of diamonds.
Yeah, I'm notorious for defending the big blind with bad cards. That's
just one of the things you're notorious
Yeah, what I
for.
can get in cheap enough. Because you never know. You could have 7 deuce and flop a full house. You just never know.
Vin
You're right
checks
about
the flop after it was checked to him. And oh wow, look at this Jerry.
You guys got to tell me what he's got. You got to try to guess.
He's got a hand that's going to get him knocked out of the tournament
Yeah,
if Vin calls.
I would think he's got ace jack, or who knows? He might have gotten lucky. He could have had a low pair and
He
just
doesn't
played
have
along.
ace
He
jack.
doesn't have
He's-
ace
he's
jack.
got-
Jerry's going to win the hand.
Hey Jerry, hey Jerry.
Wait, they might put the hand up because a little while ago the hand showed up after, and we were talking through it. Somebody had ace
I
queen.
had a lot of what
Kind of
was on
hoping it
that
comes
board.
up here.
Wow.
Cards. There's no
No,
shame in
Vin's hand
folding.
came
you
up
know?
because he had to it was showdown. That's why we saw Vin's hand of ace queen there on the river. Wow. There's no way King Jack was.
Too short to fold, and I'm too dumb to fold. So you got two
Shoving
things going
there.
against you.
That's 100. No way.
Small board.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite a way down.
All right.
What is he? I mean, what does he put him on? Correct? Does he? I mean, he doesn't put him on your hand of 4-5, does he?
You just
Only you play that hand.
he could have hit 2 pair with that flop.
He
Being
could've.
in the
What,
seat he was in.
6-3? That's the only two pair.
He's in the big blind.
He's not calling with
getting-
6-2. He's not calling with
Hey.
2-3.
Hey,
And if he's got a set, that's an insane bet.
this is the difference in my game and your game. This
Yeah.
is why I play poorly at times.
I've got two different styles here with me here in the booth.
You know, you only have to hit that hand big like once out of 10 or 12 times, and it's probably got positive EV for you. So it's like it's. But then again, you're giving away a lot of chips a lot of times too.
I mean, the hands that bet makes the most sense with are 4s and 5s. Having a pair and having some outs if you
105.
get there on the river. I mean, if you get called, I mean, you're not doing that with a 6, are you?
105.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, but
All right, Jerry's going to raise it up.
a lot of guys will go with their reads though. They think their opponent isn't strong. If they feel that way, even if the opponent is, they may decide this is the spot to put them to the test. The other thing is, a lot of guys don't want to be the first one knocked off the final table. It's
don't.
like
That's
they're
the-
trying to ladder up, and so that
Jerry obviously wasn't trying to ladder up there, no doubt about that. Look at that, he flops top pair with his 20
All
big
in.
blind stack.
Up is 7.
And he
trade,
just shoves
deuce.
the 7.
Just shoves.
wow.
Shoves. There's 265,000 in the middle, and he makes it almost 2.5x.
He just wants to pick up chips, and he's getting nervous about his stack size. You know,
Well,
guys,
I don't think he's very confident. He's just
No. But I mean, he
I
doesn't
know
want to
what you
see a
mean.
queen or a king hit the board and not know what to do. He's just trying to pick up chips, and he's happy to get what he can.
to be
And
the big
after
one
I
'cause
see
it don't
that
play
hand, now
before
I
with
think
him.
is most likely holding. On the other hand, it actually could have been ace jack. Now that I see this hand, but I think it's more likely that it's queen jack or jack 10 that king jack had.
Well, I
crushed,
agree.
or
If he
maybe even king
no,
jack
I was
for a
kidding. If
shot.
he'd have had ace jack, he'd have re-raised because he had two late positions. When he's in the pot ahead of him, he would have done something right there. But yeah, so just never know what people's outlook toward their chip stack is and how it relates to the table and in their situation.
And I just want to say this again because I did kind of have a reaction. I could very well be wrong. I'm wrong all the time at the poker time.
You know, everybody says that about you.
I have this reputation.
No, not really. You play excellent.
Thank you.
I
but
played with you enough to know that.
as long as I can stay away from you when you're playing Jack 6.
Those are obviously the hands you hate the most. The one high card and the one middle low card. You know, I'll play a lot of hands, but that's generally not one of them.
Jake has ace king Anna Karnikova under the gun and 2.5x's it to 100,000. Breck taking a moment to pause in the small blind. Nick in the big blind has two crappy cards and is likely to fold. And he does with the old raise and take it for the man in Lions gear. Very bright. You know, it's almost like wearing Cubs gear. So the Cubs won the World Series wearing Lions gear at a final table.
All right, so you're watching exclusive final table coverage here at the Ameristar Casino Hotel East Chicago. And by the way, we have another event coming up here right around the corner in New Orleans, our first event
Super
in
Bowl
New Orleans.
weekend.
Super Bowl weekend, and I was down there about 6 months ago. We were doing some work in the New Orleans area, and it's always great to get down there. So all the information is at hptpoker.com. Give it a shot, and who knows, maybe you'll be playing for the life-changing cash.
And where Craig won his first HPT event, the big one, $300,000. Golden Gates comes up in the middle of February, and I regret to state that I'm not going to be there. My first Colorado HPT event that I've missed in years.
Yeah, it's hard to miss that one.
A family-oriented event going on that weekend that I can't miss, but it's a highly recommended tournament. It should be $1 million prize pool again.
It's great.
All right. Well, we got a big hand
Jacks,
brewing here.
threes.
For Joe. Stand now with pocket jacks. What's the play here, guys? What's the play?
I'm surprised that he's not just 3-bet shoving.
Kind of what I thought.
That's one way to look at it. But then again, he knows that this looks scarier than him shoving. Stan and I have talked about that. He just knows it looks scarier, and he's probably going to get looked up. He's going to get.
There's going to be a race here. I can't imagine Nick's all in with the ace king.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's
in.
There's one
Stan has to call his committee.
Obviously. And Stan's flipping for his tournament life. Here we go. The fans getting off their feet.
He's actually happy to see ace king and not queens, kings, or aces.
Look at Puccio, so concerned with something back there. He's not even watching the hand. All right, so pocket jacks for Stan. Tournament life at risk, going up against Nick's ace king.
And we did see an ace folded, and that's recognized in the 61 and 39% here. Stan Jablonski.
He's got such a great attitude at the table, you know. He just really
blessed with a wonderful wife and Connie.
Oh yeah. You kind of wonder how he got her, to be honest with you.
Boy, you follow up that compliment with that.
Yeah, you know.
Unbelievable.
I know he's going to listen to this later, so I figured I'd say that.
All right, so Stan's tournament life.
Good luck to both guys here, and
Good luck.
see what
Here
happens.
we go to the flop. And the flop, 2 10s and a 9.
So far, so good for Stanley.
Needs to avoid 3 aces, 3 kings, or running queen jack.
Yeah, he's
diamonds. You see those percentages now, 89-11.
See the river card?
So we go to that
5
river
outs.
card. The final card is the ace of clubs on the end.
Oh my
The
God!
ace of clubs on the river card, and that's going to do it for Stan Jablonski.
On the river too.
Now 5th all-time in the Heartland Poker Tour.
All-time money
teaching
list. Yeah.
people a lesson about how to take a bad beat. Gonna get a nice kiss from Connie there. Rough way to go out. Greenstein.
I said it before, but he's always positive. He's always in a good mood. He's always smiling. He's always encouraging other players. He's just a great guy.
Yeah, and you know, guys, nobody wants to be the first one eliminated. That's you never want to go, but it's even harder being the first guy to leave.
Stan did nothing wrong. He got it in good. You know, he got river. And so be it. That's poker.
Ace of clubs comes on the river, and that is going to do it for our friend Mr. Jablonski. But not for nothing, guys. He's going to go home with a decent payday, $16,925. So.
5th all-time on the Heartland Poker Tour now. 9 final tables.
It's amazing.
Still a bridesmaid.
Yeah, it's still amazing.
It's
really
a tremendous record, though.
Oh, yeah.
And a credit to him. A stalwart of the Heartland Poker Tour is Stan Jablonski. A real class act.
Well, he's also got 20 cashes right now, and 20 cashes, which means you could end up 50th or 60th or 70th, depending on the field. But he's transferred 9 of those into final tables. That's quite a statistic in its own right.
That's an awesome statistic, and you know, wasn't that long ago, a couple of years ago, he was competing for WPT Player of the Year.
Yeah, he sure was. He sure was. That was exciting. It was exciting to see him on the WPT, and he was just like he was here. He was smiling from ear to ear, and I know Connie and Stan are taking off today, but they're going to join us on that cruise as well. So we'll see them here at the end of the week. As
Cruise is coming up. Where do you guys stop?
We stop in Haiti first, and then we go to Jamaica, and then over to Mexico. So, and
lots of poker.
Lots of poker, and it's so much fun. You're just locked up in that chip, and you play all day long. It's just fantastic.
Is Foxy going on this?
Foxy's going to be on it.
He made a deep run in this thing.
He did. He had a bunch of chips, and he decided to give them back. I had dinner with him last night. We watched the HPT downstairs on Comcast Sportsnet Chicago. But yeah, the cruise is a lot of fun, and you know, I've been nervous these last about 30 days, guys, because it was I think 4 days ago I just located my passport. I didn't know where the heck it was. I finally found it. I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna have to make a run to Chicago and/or Minneapolis. I'm gonna have to spend about $400 to get a new passport.
Well, listen, James, try not to fall off the boat.
I know. I don't have a balcony this year, so I don't have a balcony. God. So I should be pretty safe. Should be anyway. We'll see what happens. But again, I want to thank our HPT Poker crew for helping us out with the broadcast. These guys work around the clock, and check out our TV show too, and you can get all the information for that online at hptpoker.com.
You hit the second pair in the jack. Come on, we're going to see you anyway.
Who? Oh yeah.
Two good players.
Sure,
I can't tell you anything.
We're told we're going to have Mr. Jablonski back here, and we're going to talk about that final hand. And you know, there's really not much to talk about, guys. It's, the river card got him.
Yeah,
you know?
he got his money in good. That's all you can ask. And sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Are you guys in the school of you hate the jacks? The jacks are bad luck, or how do you guys run with?
Well, not
jacks?
when you flop one.
No. Well, you can still lose when you flop one.
Yeah, what do they say, Dave? There's 2 ways to play, or there's a million ways to play.
And they're all wrong.
There's no right answer.
Real quick story, I had jacks on the last cruise, and I was up against Cruz Baca. You can't make this up. And I've had E-raised, I re-raised. And flop comes up king jack 4. Well, he had kings, I had jacks. Sure enough, he's got a set, I've got a set. We get it all in the middle, turn cards, nothing. And that river card, it was right before dinner. It was like slow motion. She flipped it up. The jack of spades on the river, and I took down the biggest pot on the cruise from a guy named Cruz.
Yeah, see, it's not a bad thing all the time to have those jacks.
You got to get pretty lucky, though, like I did, though.
But he had a jack in his hand when he knocked me off the final
Did he
table
really?
down in New Mexico.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, you see, I got him.
He hit
back.
2 pair. He had queen jack. He hit the queen on the turn to 2 pair me.
A couple of real disciplined folds to Mike here. Jake folded a pair of ducks on the button, and Dan folded king queen out of the small blind to Mike's early position raise, second to act at this now 8-handed final table, and it'll be a clash of 2 of the bigger stacks at this final table as Joe's going to defend, understandably, with queen 10 off.
A lot of guys don't. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say the blinds have now gone up to 25-50, as you can see with the.
And there's the deuce. And there's the deuce.
There's the
You
deuce,
notice
you're
that?
right. Flop is ace, king, deuce, rainbow.
I have a hard time laying down low pairs, you know, if there's a flop, if it's cheap enough to make the call. It's just
Well, yeah, it's always fun to go upset hunting like
Yeah.
that. You know, with any pair, it's exciting, especially a small pair, because you're just kind of hanging out in the weeds, and when you hit it, you know, comes from nowhere. And
A lot depends on your chip stack, of course, you know, as to how often you can do that.
Yeah, over the 2 bullets that I played, I must have set mine 15 or so times. No success.
Well, they say you pick up the set once in 8.3 hands
Look at
when
this.
you got a pair like that. So it's
River's the gutter ball. After it goes check on the turn, and I gotta say this again, James, I love these improved graphics on the
It's
upper left
fantastic,
side of the
yeah.
scene.
yeah, it's really nice.
the only issue we have, certain states, like I believe, that won't let us use the whole cards. That's the only time we have those problems.
Well, but it's the same then for any other tour that's out there that's, you know, putting
Sure,
it,
yeah.
you know, it's just something that the players at home are going to have to get used to until those states change their laws.
It's also kind of fun when we're forced to call it without the whole cards, because it, you know, gets your mind working a little bit. So, Jason Larson, my name, alongside a couple of HPT champions. Got David Goodfriend and Greg Legend Casino in here, a couple of Chicago guys enjoying the live stream. Mr. Jablonski's going to join us, and we'll be able to talk to him.
He may be a few minutes. Yeah, he's got to go do the important thing first, which is getting paid.
Got to get paid.
And then he'll show up.
He can take that 17,000 and free roll the cruise now. You know,
Yeah,
he's on a free roll for the cruise.
I think he's on a free roll in life. He's
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
pretty well in a lot of ways.
You
So
might be right about that. Yeah, I'd be smiling too if I was Dan Jablonski. He's got a beautiful wife, a great family.
and some of the best friends in the world, right, guys?
He's a lucky man.
You know what? He does have some of the best friends in the world. He is a very lucky.
Some good friends.
Yeah, some good friends.
David good friends
good.
says good friends. Yeah, that's. You know, you're pretty quick today. You must have gotten some sleep last night.
That's what happens when you get knocked out and you don't make day two.
Okay, what do we got?
Interesting to me, what I think Jake made a decision. He didn't want to go up against Mike with his twos, but he's much more interested in going up against Jerry here. And look at this, he's going to 3-bet Jerry to 285,000 with his 10-9 off.
Great play.
He's
Love that
basically
play.
putting Jerry to a decision for a stack. Jerry is going to either put his stack all in or he's going to fold. And he's basically only has to put in 285,000 to get that information.
I couldn't get a.
It's a really strong play, and there they go.
And it's going to work very well for Mr. Baumgartner. Well played,
He
sir.
had 2 seconds, no first.
That's an example of why I said earlier that he's known as one of the best players in Western Michigan with that tough group of players. Casey Carroll's up there, and there's a number of them, including Barry Brown. So that's a good example right there.
And to me, the difference in the two hands are the two opponents, not necessarily the cards. It's he doesn't want to go up against one of the chip leaders who's raised from early position, but he's willing to go up against a non-chip leader from early position and use his stack and his skill to his advantage.
A lot of these younger guys start picking on us older guys too. You know, they start.
I don't
thinking
know
that
what
we're
you're
like,
talking about.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they just see us as being weak, a little weaker at the table, and sometimes we just have to surprise them.
Well, the Chicagoland area, though, just full of great poker players. The list goes on and on. I didn't see the Massey brothers, though, here this weekend. They must be traveling.
Aaron's actually playing day 3 at Hollywood in the Seminole Hard Rock.
Good for him.
They had over 1,500 players in that $1,000 tournament, so he made the final 3 tables and came back for day 3. I haven't checked in on the blog there, and I'm trying to stay off of Twitter as much as possible for different reasons.
All right, we go to the flop now.
I digress.
9-8, couple of spades. So, again, we got the wild cards here. We don't know what Vin's holding.
And this is blind versus blind. I did not see who the early pre-flop raiser is, and Mike picks up a straight flush draw in addition to his pair here.
Turn card is the 9 of clubs. 125,000 is the bet. And Vin's going to make the call.
Okay, so Vin raised to 3x from the small blind to big blind.
5 of diamonds on the river.
Michael had all kinds of prospects there, but that
He
5
sure
of diamonds didn't help him out too much.
just
He
two
still
pair.
has showdown value, though.
He sure
He could have
does.
gotten called with a jack. He could have gotten called with overcards and
Right,
spades.
right.
But how strong is Vin, and is Vin strong enough to call a river bet here? That's what we're going to find out.
He does decide to bet here.
And it looks like about 250.
200 even.
Oh, 200 even. A third of the pot. I think this is a bet designed to get eights to fold. I don't think Vin's ever folding tens. He's never folding an overpair. He's just trying to get an 8, a better 8 to fold.
And Vin's going to make the call. 200,000 a call.
Vin's going to make the call, so
6 of the clubs.
he's going to show 2 pair for Michael, and I don't think Vin's going to show his hand. So
Because he doesn't have a pair. Or he might have rivered a 5. So Mike...
He might have thought ace high was good. Woo! Against Michael, he might have thought ace high was good.
He might have had, ace king is a bluff catcher there. Ace king, ace queen is a bluff catcher.
Over 51 minutes. Left at this level.
And Michael definitely is capable of bluffing there. But I think he would have bet bigger if he was bluffing.
Mike's from Carmel, Indiana. He won the Hollywood Poker Open event number 3 in 2016. Won a WSOP circuit event in 2013 at Choctaw. Won 2 Borgata summer poker events in 2013. 3 HPT cashes. And his best was 4th in 2014 over in Altoona. And I know you know a lot about Altoona, don't you there, Mr. Good Friend?
That's Prairie Meadows.
Prairie Meadows, yeah, where the horses run, and beautiful property, beautiful property.
And Mike, even though he's a young guy, he's got over 800,000 in lifetime earnings. The man's got skill.
Unbelievable.
So he's got 800K in lifetime earnings. The man in the purple shirt and the scarf and the hair, he looks like he almost looks a little bit like an older version of Igor Kurganov. Is that the Russian guy's name that's with Liv Bury?
I think so, yeah. Vin's going to make the call. Craig Casino's getting a call. He'll quickly put that. It might be his buddy Stan Jablonski.
Not yet.
Hello.
Oh, there's the aces.
Get a couple people on the chat here. Michael Hahn wins here. Must be a fan. Says Michael Hahn will win this tourney. I'll give you all 2 to 1. He says. Michael Hahn will go down as the best poker player to ever walk on the face of the earth. Well, interesting. And by the way, folks, we want to keep it interactive here. You can go ahead and hit us up on Twitter at HPTJAYMZ. That's at HPTJAYMZ. Tweet me a question, and we'll go ahead and answer it. Jerry now with the pocket aces.
Yeah, I think he's just got to shove him in here. Yeah.
Early position, Jacob folded queen 10 of clubs, and a lot of guys fall in love with hands like that, me included at times. But first position, there's just too many guys to act after you.
There's just not a lot of deception to me. If you're raising, less than all in there, you're obviously still willing to commit all your chips. So just didn't find anybody that had a hand that could call a 17 big blind shove, unfortunately, with his aces. It's part of the luck in the game isn't just getting the aces, it's getting somebody that can call you with kings or queens or jacks or ace king.
True, but I'll take chances. Like if I've got pocket aces and there's one guy that's entered the pot in late, mid position before me, I'm sorry, but I'm calling and I'll let him take a chance. If he flops 2 pair or if he flops a set, then he flops it. But boy, you're going to get paid off on the rest of the streets if there's one queen that hits the board and he's paired it up.
Or even better, if you find somebody that's yet to act pre-flop behind you and that decides that after you flat with the aces, it's a squeeze spot, and you can walk into some big pots that way as well.
Yep, had that happen the other day.
Got a question here via Twitter from our buddy at East Coast Rossi.
Oh no!
He wants to know, ask the Maven how he enjoyed being at the inauguration. So if you want to talk about that, we certainly can.
As I tweeted back to Rossi after he sent that to me on Friday, I'll give him the verbal response as opposed to what he saw on a GIF. Homie, I don't think so. Homie, don't play that. Going back to the old Living Color days.
Absolutely, I remember it
David
very well.
Reyes.
Yeah, I remember it's where Jim Carrey got his start, some other big name actors. Again, folks, if you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter at HPT James. And you guys, why don't you give your Twitter address out as well, so
At
folks can
David
get you,
Gutfreund, DavidGutfreund, David Gutfreund.
I am at Craig Casino 1, and I'm sure anybody watching today knows how to spell casino, so I won't mention that.
How many times,
We all spend enough time in them, so I guess we should by now know how to spell it.
How many times do you still get asked, just like Chris Moneymaker, is that your real name?
right.
It does come up quite often, but yeah, it is. I was born with it, so not much I can do about
And
it.
tell everybody your wife's maiden name. 'cause
Yeah,
this
her
is the part that I don't
Her
believe.
maiden name was Slott, S-L-O-T-T. So, but the funny part was, when we got married, I was 21, never been to Vegas, never even thought of slot machines. I didn't even put the casino slot together until she and I went to Vegas when I was 23, and I thought, God, both of our names are up all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Unbelievable. That's great.
Still 8-handed at this final table. Mike has raised it up from the cutoff. We don't see his cards. Breck's in the small blind with 32 big blinds and is thinking about getting involved here. And I don't think a call is advisable. If you're going to get involved, you probably should be doing exactly what Breck just did, and that's 3-betting. It looks like he's 3-bet small. He's bet 360 for 265.
Ace is a good hand when you've only got a cutoff and a small blind playing ahead of you.
Especially against an aggressive opponent like Mike.
You
You can't call with the hand, though. Ace-4 is a horrific hand to be calling with there out of the small blind.
And, just to let everybody know at home, and you guys here, when you're not seeing the cards, I think what it is sometimes is the players aren't actually getting the RFIDs lined up with the cards. So it's not really a malfunction. They're just not showing the cards to the RFID.
Well,
so
if that's the case, I wish they would, they talk to them at the table and get the guys to be a little more aware of that. But the tables, I can't see it right now, but last time I was on the table, it was pretty clearly marked as to where those cards had to sit.
Yeah, and I'm just hearing that from one of our producers, Kirk, in the back, was telling me that, so I'm going to trust him on that.
Yeah.
He's going to blame them instead of blame us, so that's fine with me.
Breck's just trying to save a little face here. He knows he's folding here. He's been 4-bet by Mike, and that's going to end the hand. Breck just doing a little Hollywooding, just, making it look like he has a decision when he doesn't. But eventually, he'll fold.
In case you're watching at home and haven't played on an RFID table yet, the cards do not have to be splayed apart for it to read either. They can be sitting one on top of the other, so it's not really that hard to get it in the box. The technology will read it either way.
Playing on TV is so much different than just obviously a regular game, because there's just so much going on with the lights, the cameras, and then I've been a part of this outfit for 8 years, and we've had technical difficulties where we have to stop play, and we've got to put a microphone battery in. It's so much different, and I think my advice to players is just be relaxed, and it's a part of it. You're playing for a lot of money. That's what the HPT is all about, is the lights and the cameras. So embrace it and have fun. I always tell these guys, have fun when you're out there. This may be your only time on TV. Maybe you'll be back next week, but be relaxed and have fun. And it looks like these guys are very relaxed. They're having fun.
It's sound advice. And when you start out, if you haven't been there, obviously everybody's going to be a little bit nervous. But once you get one lap through the table, you're pretty calmed down until you have to make the big decision. Do I raise here? Do I call off my chips? Am I going all in? Then things change a little bit.
And you're probably thinking, what are my peers thinking of this? I'm under the microscope. We've got announcers. We've got people at home. And that's got to add to the anxiety level a little bit, is, you don't want to look like an idiot.
Yeah. There's no question.
You don't want to call off your whole stack with King Deuce.
I mean, obviously, I haven't worried about that too much when I've been.
You're a very aggressive player, Craig, and I like that.
Right,
but, when I've seen your results, anybody that ever talks about Craig Casino, well, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, I say, take a look at his results, okay? The guy, I think, is doing just fine.
As I said before, everybody's getting so much better, and that's one problem for me now is, it's been nice to be at 10 TV tables with the HPT, but when guys get to see your play that often, they tend not to believe you when you're playing, especially day 1A, 1B of the tournament. So I have to consider that all the time. They playing back at me because of that. I don't know why.
In the booth with a couple of friends of mine, David Goodfriend and Craig the Legend Casino, as we broadcast here from the Ameristar Casino Hotel East Chicago. Talked about it before. We try to keep things very interactive, so do me a favor, hit us up on Twitter at HPTJAYMZ, and we also see the comments on the side of the screen. It's always fun to keep that interactive too, but of course we're on a little bit of a delay. I believe it's 15-minute delay, so if we're not exactly with you on the side chat here, hit us up on Twitter as well.
Well, he raised ace-9 last hand from the cutoff, and this hand he lets it go from the hijack, and that's a tricky spot with 24, 26, 28 big blinds, ace-9 off. Breck's going to raise it up from the cutoff.
Jacob with pocket sixes. Lions had a pretty decent year this year. They made it into the playoffs, but like any good Detroit team, they lost in the first round.
I don't think the Lions have won a playoff game for a long time.
Of course, the Super Bowl. Now we've got those two teams all set up. New England taking on Atlanta.
7 Super Bowls for Brady and Belichick.
And this is only the second appearance for the Falcons in the Super Bowl. I wrote a blog about that yesterday, and I remember the last time they were there. I don't remember it as a good memory because they beat my Minnesota Vikings that year with just a fantastic team with Randy Moss and Dante Culpepper.
What's the over-under going to be on that New England-Atlanta game, like 82, 84?
58.5 last I saw.
I looked this morning, I saw 59. I was surprised New England's only favored by 3. I guessed it at 5.5, 6, right around there.
Yep.
But it opened up at 3, so.
So Breck opened up from the cutoff. Jake called out of the small blind with his pair of 6s, and that's a pretty good flop for 6s, a 10 and 2 5s. Hard for Breck to have too much of that, and Jake's probably going to call another street if Breck tries to bet at it again.
4 of diamonds here on the turn.
Breck's thinking about his chip stack, and it's like he almost. What's he got? 1.2, yeah.
Bets 225,000. And Jake's going to fold. He's going to fold. Breck's going to win the hand.
That's why it's tough to play small pairs out of the small blind if you don't hit the flop, if you don't hit your set.
Yeah.
And that is a tough spot for Jake there.
Well, and he knew he was going to have to call another street after that. So
he
it's like,
might have to call another street if he has the heart, or he has the hand, or both.
True.
But if you're calling there, you're really hoping check on the river.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Steve Fox in the audience.
Yeah, Ben Castle in the audience as well, sitting next to Puccio.
I've got
Big Ben.
First time he folds over to Michael.
Of course, Big Ben's not big anymore. He's lost his weight. He looks damn good.
He sure does.
You
You guys like playing with sunglasses on? I know, Dave, I've seen you play with sunglasses, right?
I remember a specific quote from when I won my final table that involved sunglasses, but yes, I do wear sunglasses at the final table, or at the table. I feel a lot more comfortable.
Dan? Yep, after this hand.
I do not wear them. Not saying there's anything right or wrong either way. I just don't.
I don't do the headphones thing, but the sunglasses, it's just a comfort thing at this point. I've played without them. I just feel more comfortable with them.
Let's bring Stan in here, and we'll just have you hold the microphone there, Craig. Stan,
he can have it when he gets there.
Stan Jablonski, let's bring him in here. We're ready for him, Corey. Oh, going around. Talk to the legend here, the other legend. We got the legend Craig Casino in here. Now coming in, Mr. Jablonski. Obviously, yeah,
it is.
He's got his limo out front. There he is, everybody.
The Riverman, Jesus. Here,
Come on,
take my mic.
Sit down here, Stan. Joining us in the booth, Stan Jablonski. If you're just joining us, he went out in 9th place, and here we've got Queen Tray for Nick going up against the Jack 6 of Jacob.
This is going to fold into the blinds. Dan's not going to play. Oh, just look at this. Jake's going to open. This is the first time we've seen a real light open all day.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk to Stan here in a minute after we set this hand up.
I actually have a question for Stan about his last hand as well.
And before you get to his last hand, Stan, what was going through your mind when you saw the 8 of spades come up in the window after you had just folded your pocket eights? What was going through
You
your
mean
mind?
there was an 8 on that flop?
There sure was,
Oh,
yes.
Once I fold, I don't look at the flop. It's too annoying, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, Mike had 9s and he turned her 9.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah. Well, obviously the run out was going to re-raise.
It was, yeah, straight on the board. But, yeah, just unfortunately, we'll talk about the last hand, and you had a question for him on the last hand.
Well, you know, you had a stack of about 17, 18 big blinds going in the last hand when you got the jacks, and you decided instead of 3-bet shoving, you wanted to 3-bet to whatever it was, 275 or 375. Obviously, you had no intention of folding.
Correct.
But what is this purpose of doing that bet versus an all-in?
Really, it's not much difference. Just, I think it's obvious I'm all in. I mean, can never fold at that point. It looks a little stronger.
You think it looks a little
yeah,
stronger?
I think to some people.
Okay.
But I mean, I think most of these guys at this table are more accomplished players. I will just say the vast majority of them, I think.
And interesting on this hand, Joe's 3-bet a weak ace out of the small blind, and Jake's obviously got to let the jack 6 go. Tell us your impressions, or this should be James's question. Excuse me, James.
Go ahead.
What your impressions of the 8 remaining players of this final table? And some of your experiences with them, not just today, but leading up to this final table.
Vin, I think that's Vin, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And the sports jacket and the ponytail.
Yeah, he was really short last
Waiting for you
night.
to do
There
it.
he is, Mr. Jablonski. Well done,
There
well
he
played,
is.
sir.
And he played fantastic to build his stack at the
Got
end.
things to do.
I was really impressed with Vin's play
Yeah, like go home and
because
get some sleep.
he got short stacked, and then he said, you know, I play great short stack, and then he really took a few gambles and made some strong calls. I think he's going to be tougher than most people give him credit for. I think he's got a big shot. Joe's obviously a very good player, and Mike, I think, is a very strong player. I think those are my top 3 picks. Are we going to do one of those things where we break eggs on people if they pick wrong?
We certainly, yeah. We've
Let's
got
do
all
that.
kinds
Come
of
on,
fun
you know what I'm saying?
stuff.
You guys ever
We
see
got-
that?
That's
Yeah,
why
exactly.
that's why I'm wearing the hat, because I picked you.
Yeah, this was great to have your buddy back here critiquing all of your plays, though. I
Oh,
mean,
Mike,
great. It
I'll
was
have to watch
fantastic.
this on replay.
He
What
actually-
were you saying?
I was brutal to you. I'll just tell you now.
Okay, I figured that. It's okay. That's what friends are
He'd
for.
say something nice, and then he'd kind of give you a hard time. So it was kind of a compliment sandwich of sorts, I guess.
But we have that love-hate relationship.
Well, right, yeah, exactly. You know, I noticed things got off to a pretty fast start at the table. Seems like we got a lot of action cards. We saw aces, we saw the 9s, we saw your hand there. So unlike most HPT events, it seems like things get off to a slow start. And you even mentioned that you expected things to get off
I
slow with
really
the cards.
thought, I don't know what you were thinking coming in today, Stan, but with the stacks the way they were and the blinds where they were, I didn't think there'd be a lot of action, a lot of eliminations early on.
I agree, and that's why I opened Queen 10 early.
Yeah,
I'd
saw
be
that.
surprised to know what he had there when he raised me on the flop. Did anybody remember that?
We didn't see his cards on that one. I don't believe so. I know, right? Yeah. So you're getting no
One hand
information.
I'm gonna ask you about.
All right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I don't think we saw his cards on that particular.
You know,
hand.
it's so great watching the live stream with the whole coach.
It sure
now.
is,
It's
yeah.
improved at like such a level. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
And Joe seems to be ramping up the aggression as he's increasing his chip lead here. He's got almost 80 big blinds.
Okay,
at this
did anybody
20-55
see
level.
Joe when he was at his World Poker?
Craig actually has seen him, and he wanted to tell a story about it. I think it's
Well, I sent him a video, and
Okay.
maybe you already saw it this morning, but Joe
One
looked
tan,
like
one
he had
tan.
an outfit on out of Saturday Night Fever. And I asked him, because his hair was real short,
Yeah.
and he was buttoned down like 6 buttons, and he looked like Vinny on Saturday Night Fever
Oh,
or
that's
something.
fun. That's
and I asked
awesome.
him today, I said, hey, Joe, you're not going to wear your Saturday Night Fever outfit? He's a really good sport. I like him.
Yeah.
This is, I gotta say, between the three of us, Craig, Stan, and myself, we've played a lot of HPT events. There's no question about it. What Craig mentioned, the overall strength of the fields is getting better, unfortunately, and this final table is a really good example of that. There's really, it's a really overall strong final table.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I think in all the final tables probably getting tougher, but this one, in really a strong, compared to the other ones, I think.
And by the way, guys, if anybody tells you that they think poker's on the downswing and poker's phasing out, we had 590 entries here. There's all kinds of events going on. I got 224 people watching us on the web stream. So, you know, I think it's a pretty good day for poker right now.
Fantastic.
You know, it really is.
Over 1,500 in Choctaw for the circuit event this weekend, over 1,400 in Florida for their big tournament. You know, Borgata had over 5,000 entries and a $500 buy-in last week. Poker is not dead, folks. Live poker is alive, kicking, and going strong.
Dave's like a wealth of information here about this.
He
Like
really
a
is,
computer
this
read
guy.
off those numbers. I think we had to verify those numbers.
And speaking of poker,
It's not an alternative fact.
speaking of poker, Stan and myself will be playing 7 days straight, starting this Saturday, as we will be embarking on our HPT cruise. On
Looking
the
forward
Freedom
to
of
that
the
cruise.
Seas.
It's gonna be
So
great.
excited! That's one of the biggest ships in the world, I guess, that we're going on. So
The biggest ship.
the biggest ship.
And one of the
Oral-
newest also.
Oral Hershiser will join us again. Always great to.
What about the Legend? The Legend coming?
No, he's not coming. But you know the HPT commercial that's on TV where they show the girl. What is she doing? Surfboarding on that boat wave.
yeah.
Could you do that this year, James? So
I'm
we
gonna
can
try,
kind of see
yeah.
how you look.
I'm gonna try.
I requested that.
They
Special.
were going to have Robert do it last year, but it just didn't work out. I'm not sure what happened.
James is bringing the Speedos. I know that he said that
I
he's
found the
gonna bring them,
passport.
so
It was
he's
next
got
to the
the passport and the Speedos.
So that's good. But no, the reason I keep talking about it is give us, check it out for next year. It's a fun cruise and it's great people and it's kind of you get to know everybody in the poker room and we're playing every single day on the boat. It's a lot of fun. So I encourage people to check out Card Player Cruises, Jan Fisher and of course,
Those
Linda
tournaments are actually bigger than I would have thought they are.
No, they are, and there's a lot of action on the ship. There's a lot of action in the cash games, and it's our group, which will probably be what 200-300 or whatever it is.
No, actually, I heard that when I called them like over a month ago, they had over 400 poker players.
Seriously.
So I think it's going to be really big.
Yeah. So and it's just the card games aren't open up to the whole ship. You literally have to be part of this, which is great. And they've got food down there, food, drink, whatever you need. I mean, it's truly just a vacation.
And I know
Rexa
Rexa was trying to come. Rex Clink Scales.
Oh.
I hope he got in because he was trying to come last minute. So.
Sure. Oh, good. Yeah. And I think honestly, you could, if you have a passport and you're ready to gamble, I think you can still get on the ship. So we're leaving from
Dave,
Fort Lauderdale.
come on,
Yeah,
let's
hey,
go,
Dave,
buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
When's the last time you've been cruising?
A, I get seasick, and B, of much more importance in my warped world, the biggest horse racing tournament in the world takes
sure.
place next weekend.
Yeah,
So
I'm a horse racing fan.
I know. Interesting hand here with Joe opening up from the hijack, 2 ahead of the button with 6-5 suited, flops a pair but checks the flop. Mike calls in position,
What's Mike
and Mike, it was checked to Mike on the flop. He bet the flop. Joe stuck around. The king certainly is more likely to help Joe than it is to help Mike.
Check, check.
I think Mike's going to bet the river here. He's got to bet if he missed his draws.
And Mike checks the
Good read, Dave.
Check the river. Let's see a winner. Joe shows 6 of clubs, 5 of clubs. 2 pair, kings and 5s.
Kings and 5s is going to be good enough for Joe to win this pot. So what's your plan now, Stan? You guys are going to get on your Southwest flight and head back to
Headed back
Bullhead
to
City?
Vegas and Bullhead and have a good time and get ready for the cruise. We have to fly back on Friday night to Fort Lauderdale.
We've got him here. Why Bullhead City? You're right across the border from Nevada. Arizona's got no state income tax. Nevada's got no state income tax. What's the difference?
The state income tax in Arizona isn't that bad. That's one of the reasons. It's just not worth. I used to have a house in Nevada for a lot of years. Was a Nevada resident in Henderson, but I think top end on Arizona is only 3.5%. So
Very cool. Very cool.
state needs money, Dave. You got to pay the
Yeah.
state a little money to
Well, that's
and
why
roads
I
and,
live here in Illinois. For gosh sakes, I've been getting crushed.
Yeah, well, the most
When
corrupt state in the union.
I get crushed on state income taxes living in the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois does not do their taxes fairly. They tax gambling winnings and not net gambling earnings.
Well, now you're going to get audited. So
But you know what? The good news is we're going to make America great again now. So that's the important thing. America's
We.
Yeah, we the people. We the people. That's us. That's us. All right, well, Stan, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Lots of fun. And,
Safe travels, sir.
We'll see you next trip.
Always great to see you, my friend. That's
Great
Stan.
job, nice run. 9 final tables. One of these days, will join me and Craig as part of the HPT Champions Club.
It just shows anybody can do it, Dave.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, well, speaking of champions, we got Mike Puccio here. We'll talk to him next, but we got a hand of brewing here. Ace Queen for Nick, and we got Jacob with pocket sixes, Finn with pocket fours. So things are heating up here, guys. Great to see you. Come on in after this hand, Pooch.
Looks like looks to me like this 3-bet's going to work a lot of the time with the 6s and the 4s and the stack sizes of Jake and Finn.
3-bet's the 325,000. So the 2 overs going up against the 6s and the 4s.
Hey, James, our good buddy Roger Martin just said to say hi. He said you and David are doing a great job on the live stream. He didn't mention me, so I don't know what that means.
All right, so we're joined in here now with Mike Puccio, another champion. You won this. You won this event right here.
Right here.
Right here. You got to talk into the mic though. If
Actually, that was 2 years ago now, December 15th.
Yeah, it was. Boy, I remember. You know, that final table. God, it was a great final table. It was a fantastic final table. Everybody played so well. Well there.
Now look at this. Finn does call with the 4s to try and flop a set here.
Okay, the flop is queen, 7-5, couple of clubs. So Nick gets the best of it, pairing his queen.
Bingo. And he's certainly going to continue here, probably for 275-ish. I would think he's going to do it for less than the C-bet, or less than the 3-bet size. Actually, he bets 400,000 here. That's half the pot. Vin's only beating Ace-King at this point.
All right, so the winner of that hand is going to be Nick. So we bring in Mike Puccio now. Like we said, he won this event a couple of years ago. And what was going through your mind as players started to, you know, fall one by one? When did you think, wow, I think I could actually win this thing?
Well, I just actually thought when I got to that final table, I thought there was 8 better players than I was.
Really?
That good?
And I was lucky enough to be second in two. So my strategy basically was sit back, wait for the or let these guys knock each other out. And that happened. And then once we got down to 5, that's when we started playing.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
your final table was so much fun to watch. It was just so exciting, and you made yourself look good on national TV, brother.
Actually, it was you guys that made me look good.
That was a tough final table. Ben Castle was at that final table, and the best player at that final table was Josh. Well, Josh was really. There was
JT?
Josh. JT was at that final table, and there was one really other good player at that final table that I'm not remembering other than Josh.
What was EK?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
But there were 2 exceptional players at that final table, and I know Josh was one of them.
It was a fun final table.
Yeah, it sure was. It sure was.
And obviously, you're here today to support the man with the goatee that we just saw on the screen, Dan.
Danny,
Yeah.
We've been buddies for a long time, and basically, I just kind of gave him the same advice. I mean, he came in with 1.3 million. Don't get excited. Don't think you got to keep up with these guys. It's chips.
90,000 is the bet by Nick. 90,000. Jake for 1 seat.
He's been very patient before. He played the ace-jack that he had on the ace-high flop very well against the kings. It was gratuitous that he flopped an ace and not a jack.
Right.
All right.
2 players with middle pair here in a blind versus blind situation that was limp pre-flop. Nick leads out, and Jake just folds a second pair there on the flop, and it turned out to be the correct fold.
I think everybody's got his opinion. Everyone else's opinion of Nick is a very tight player, and I played with him for about 3 hours yesterday. Nothing but solid hands.
And you went rather deep in this thing. You had chips yesterday at one time.
Yeah, I had a lot of chips. My queens ran into aces.
That sucks.
You had a good week, though. You played all the side events. You were into this thing for one
actually,
bullet, right?
The first event I cashed.
He won what? Did he win? Didn't he win one of these?
I came in 6th in the 6 max.
Okay.
And then I came in 36th in this.
Yeah,
Okay.
not for nothing there.
Man in form.
Yeah.
On the door. Just gotta wait for it to open up. I gotta get lessons from Mr. Casino here.
Notice how he didn't say he wanted lessons from me.
I know, I
Well,
noticed that.
if I wanted to learn about horses, I could come right to you.
Good save, Mike. Good save.
It's always great though to come back to this part of the country, Mike, and see all the friends that we have here. Because the HPT, we've been coming here for years. We were over in Gary at Majestic Star. Remember those days? And some huge fields over there. And Dom Nero was a big part of our success getting us in over there. And then we moved over to this property. And it's the old home week when we come here, just to see all of our great friends.
Majestic Star actually was in 2007 is when you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember that was one of my first tournaments I ever played, and I came in 9th. That's when
Wow.
you guys had a 6-man.
Six-man finals, yeah, six-person finals.
My
there.
best memory of Majestic Star was final tabling an HPT event over there.
Oh yeah, sure. What
Bob
year was
Chow.
that? Bob Chow, yeah.
Vu.
Yeah, I remember that very well. I remember that very well.
Vu knocking me out and the crowd going crazy for monetary reasons.
Yeah, I remember that too. I do remember that. Yeah, there was a few people in the crowd. If I remember
their
right.
hands were waiting. Actually, I was out with Mike Camerjaran at Gibson's over the holidays, and we ran into Vu. Bought his shots. He's doing well.
Good deal.
Actually, a fun, wonderful guy.
That's awesome. All right, so ace 4 for Breck. Nick's got the queen 4. Now over to Jacob in the 1 seat with 6 tray. He's on the button.
And I'm going to ramble for just half a second, James. When I first started playing poker, I never envisioned being a part of a community or being, part of, like a group or whatever. And I got to tell you, the Chicago market, the Chicago area players, there is some sort of like bond amongst us. And you see it at the tournament like this weekend with a great turnout, great mindsets of many players, and it's nice. It really is. And
Say what you want, Dave, but Pooch and I are still going to 3-bet you.
and guess what? I'm going to 3-bet you guys too when I have aces.
We've always
look good on that shirt. That shirt.
Yeah. Pooch. I could see Pooch wearing that shirt actually.
I'd like to see Pooch with the scarf.
Yeah, Pooch with the scarf. Yeah, exactly. In the booth with me, I'm James Larson, alongside Mr. Mike Puccio and Dave Goodfriend, a couple of HPT champions and regulars here on the tour. How's Keith Lutz doing? I haven't seen Lutzy this week.
He's been trying to find the tournaments that are like below the radar. So
okay.
He found himself earlier in the week in an overlaid event over at another local venue. He played another event this weekend, and I don't know. He just didn't want to take us on here at the HPT. I don't know what to say. We missed him.
Yeah, if you're listening,
I was disappointed not to see him. Surprised not to see him.
He's one of my favorite guys here in the Chicagoland area, Keith Spider Lutz. I want to ask you guys, what was it like for you to watch your show on television? You and I actually got to watch your episode together in the basement of this beautiful property here the last time we were here. But what was it like for you guys to turn on the TV when you guys are the star? You win the whole thing. Was it pretty cool? It had to be pretty cool.
Tell you the honest to God truth, it took me a whole year before I even opened up that.
For real?
I swear to God.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
When I opened it up, it was the season prior.
Are you serious?
When Massey
Are
won
you
it.
Oh my God!
Finally, a year later, I go to look at this. Where the hell am I?
You see Stan
That's
Blonsky
funny.
and Aaron Massey.
Tori sent me one right away.
Yeah, that's
and
how we
I did
roll.
Get to watch it with my wife. And yes, it is exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish all my friends experience the experience at a final table. I mean, forget about drinking or anything up. You're floating for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. And that was one of the things I always wanted to do. I wanted to play on the national stage on TV. I think a lot of us. I mean, if you're saying that doesn't interest you, I think you're lying to yourself, because it's pretty cool. You know?
It was really cool, and having had 2 other TV appearances that I didn't win, I can tell you watching the one that you win is a hell of a lot better than the ones that you get your butt knocked out of.
Yeah, you had a little more fun than
Yeah.
It's got to be hard, though, if you, say, make a bad decision or a mistake. It's up there in front of everybody to watch and to critique. That's the only bad thing. But you guys both won your events, so it's probably pretty easy to watch that one.
I was on the second time I made an HPT televised final table. I'd made back-to-back HPT final tables. The only hand that got shown was my exit hand in 2 episodes. So, you know, when you win, you get your face on a little more. That's for darn sure. And look at this, another 3-bet by Joe. He's really piling on the aggression.
There's nothing I can do.
A weak ace out of the small blind. He 3-bets Jake for a second time there. And look at that, over almost $4.5 million as he continues to add on to his chip lead with pure aggression, basically, and not really a lot of made hands. And other than
7-8 suited or something.
Joe picking up the aggression, we've seen very little action since the knockout of Stan on a relative basis at this 25,050 level. But I think during the next level, when the antes double from 5,000 to 10,000, and there's 50% more in the middle at the beginning of the hand than there is now. I think, you know, when we go from 115 in the middle to 170 in the middle before anybody acts, I think we'll see some more action. Also, just like we said at the beginning, there were real hands against hands, the first couple hands. For a while, we haven't seen anything. And here's Joe's going to open the button, and we don't see his cards, but I'm guessing his range is pretty wide. And yeah, he's got an ace on the button. He should be opening that.
I had fun playing with this guy, Michael.
He's a really good. He's a really good player.
Over 800,000 in career earnings for a young guy. He's off to a great start. Flop is Jack 5-4.
As is the case with a lot of flops, both players whip.
If you're just joining us, 8 players remain here. We lost Stan Jablonski, the first casualty, which is under $17,000.
And another 180K to the stack of Joe, getting him to 4.6 million. Certainly he's consolidated a chip lead and has separated himself from the other 7 players right now, and taking advantage of it. Vin looks very frustrated right now, Mike. I mean, he does not look like a happy camper.
Yeah, I played with Vin too. No, he doesn't seem like a happy camper, but that's the way he plays. That's the way he looks.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You have no idea. I mean, sometimes you thought he was sleeping. But he's pretty solid too. You know, all these players are pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good lineup here on the HPT as we broadcast from the Ameristar Casino Hotel, East Chicago. James Larson, David Goodfriend.
I want to see if Joe 3-bets Jake again. He's 3-bet him on multiple occasions so far at this final table, and he's not gotten played back at yet. Nope, not that time.
Gonna fold that. Over to Jerry now.
He's getting low. He's under 20 big blinds if he folds here.
Call.
Joe's got
Joe player? No. Guy in the purple shirt with the long hair? No, he's got 1.1 million in earnings. Highest career cash, 300,000.
Flop is 7-6-5. Couple of diamonds.
That should be right in the wheelhouse of the big blind.
Jerry's going to check. Over to Jacob in the 1 seat.
Does have a gutter ball, does have an overcard, but not much else. Now
he's reaching for chips. Jacob's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He was the runner-up at the WSOPC at Hammond in 2015. 2 HPT cashes. His best was 12th in the main event here in 2016.
I've definitely played with him back in the Soaring Eagle days.
That's a property I really miss. I love the Soaring Eagle Casino.
You'll always have a soft place in my heart.
Absolutely,
A
about
soft spot in my heart.
151,000 reasons for you.
156, but who's
Okay,
counting?
who's counting, I guess.
I don't remember these things. Pooch, what'd you cash for when you won?
164, 249.
And
My point.
the statute of limitations, I believe, what has it been, 2 years, right? You and I, just like Dave and I, we closed down the establishment in the basement. And we went upstairs and we tried to close that one down too. And your friends, he's got a couple of these knucklehead friends. I've never had more fun after an event in my life. Than
Probably
your
one of them
buddies.
is Danny in the screen right there. Danny was probably there that night.
No, it was.
No, Danny was there. I had David and Frankie the Fixer.
Yeah.
And
It was the
And
Rat
you're not
Pack.
talking about a horse racing fixer, I hope.
No, he's my little Italian buddy.
Yeah, wouldn't put it past him.
And unfortunately, he's come down with cancer.
Oh, really?
Sorry
Sorry to hear that. So sorry to hear.
Just, 2 years ago, we're high on the hog.
Top of the world.
And all of a sudden, now this poor guy in the last 6 months found out this news. But God bless him. And
Got a break, right, after this?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Give him a shout out here and
You go catch a nap.
dedicate a couple of hands to you.
And with that hand, Jerry is now dwindled down to 16 big blinds. He starts the hand with 790 in chips after calling the pre-flop bet and calling the C-bet as well and having to fold on the river when the ace came. And Jake actually did have the ace. So he is now the clear short stack at the table with 16 big blinds.
Either you guys ever splash around with Michael Jordan back in the day in any of the cash games or the PLO games? I've heard a few people say they played PLO with MJ over in the Hammond area a few times. How about you guys?
I've never heard that. I've never had the privilege or the honor.
I've never played with him at all. But he does live in my hometown.
Oh, he does?
And we used to play at a restaurant.
That he frequented.
It was a game, I didn't know, it was a three-handed game called Pong or something.
Okay.
And they played on the airplanes, all the basketball players.
Okay.
That was when they actually
So Joe raises ace-king from the hijack. Been raising a lot, and now he's got himself a real hand. Mike's gonna call, and Mike keeps trying to play hands against Joe in position without a lot of success. We'll see how this one goes, and I'm guessing unless Mr. Hahn has 2 hearts or Jack 10, that flop didn't go very well for him.
Flop is ace, king, queen. That is 125,000 and a quick fold.
What a great flop for ace.
And almost 5 million in chips now for Joe.
Once again, we keep it interactive here. Hit us up on Twitter at HPTJAYMZ. We'll get your questions answered here. And we want to thank everybody. Up to 284 people on the stream right now over there at twitch.tv. So we want to thank everybody for stopping by. And we're going to have another guest coming up here in the 2 o'clock hour. So it's 1:51 here in the Midwest as we broadcast from East Chicago.
Well, James, I'm going to run back and go sweat my buddy over there.
Sounds good.
Thanks for
You bet.
having me up here, and I just want to say this event is awesome.
Thank you.
You guys
Thank
do
you.
a hell of a job.
Thank you.
Structure, and this is one of my funnest tournaments ever.
Very cool, very cool. And then can you share with everybody, do you got a piece of your friend? 5%, 10%?
We always have a piece of
Of course, yeah, exactly.
All right,
Good luck,
All right.
folks. Thanks.
Thanks.
Take
That's
care.
Mike Puccio joining us here. He won this event a couple of years ago. We just talked to him, and just a nice guy, one of the nice guys, and you know he's always having fun, and great that Mike could join us here.
It is a classic example of what I was talking about the Chicago poker community. People like Mike just really enjoy the game, good spirited about it. Somebody that's getting better as well. And Joe picks up another hand here and raises it up again.
Flop is 6-5 deuce, couple of clubs. Yeah. So Joe's ace 10. We're gonna have Jason come join us.
Chicago Jason.
You guys know Jason?
Yes, we do.
Jason's great. He's a great announcer, so I'll just sit back and learn from him. And
We all
James.
can learn a little bit from Jason, I think.
Hey, Craig, though, before you don't leave just yet, you did a couple proper TV appearances with the HPT. Tell the people on Twitch about that experience from your perspective.
Well, I'll tell you, it was flattering to have the HPT ask me to sit in on that. I had a lot of fun. It was a great
It
weekend.
sure was.
I'll tell you what,
The two
though.
of you together up in, where'd you guys do tape
We
that?
went to St. Louis,
St. Louis,
St.
yeah.
Charles area there, and Craig learned to drink vodka cranberries after dinner.
Well, I tell you what, though, it's a whole newfound respect for what the announcers do, because between my own notes from watching the show a day early, having James in one ear, having the producer in the other ear, and watching TV and trying to figure out how to put all that together, it's quite daunting for your first time. So but it was fun. It was fun to do. I'm sure everybody cut me some slack because I was such a rookie at it.
Oh, you did great, and we did have a lot of fun. We were at our studios there, and we just had an absolute blast. And I want to thank you for helping us out. And by the way, you can watch those broadcasts again on the website at hptpoker.com.
I'm still waiting for that check. Is it in the mail?
I think it's in the mail, and if it doesn't show up in another week, just wait another week.
No, I was
And then,
more than happy to do that gratis.
Yeah,
that was
we
fun.
had a lot of fun. We did have a lot of fun.
And one thing you learn when you're doing that, Craig, I used to do a small bout of TV in the horse racing business back in the day. Everybody at home thinks it's about the people on camera, but the reality is it's all about the people behind the scenes that make it. They're the ones that make it happen.
Absolutely.
The HPT crew's been great. I mean, they've been great to me and all of us. You know,
Nothing personal, James.
No, I hear you.
No,
I
he's
hear you.
part of the crew in a
Absolutely.
way. I mean,
And that was the first job I ever had on this show. I was one of the camera guys
Yeah.
back in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Running Aces outside of Minneapolis there, and I was a camera guy for a couple years with this organization, and I had to work my way up from the ground level.
If you're fortunate enough to make a final table, I mean, they just make you feel like you're part of the family, and just develop stronger. You know, the more HPTs you play, and the more you're around.
And something to be said about our staff, pretty much zero turnover from the crew guys. You know, we've had the same director and a lot of our producers, and Zach and Doug and the entire gang out there, our Goose from the Fargo connection. So yeah, we can't say enough about these guys. And when we get off the air and put the headsets down and walk downstairs, these guys are here for another 3 hours tearing the thing down, loading up the vehicle. And boy, what I remember most about my 8 years with this is when we would do the 8 weeks in a row. You remember that. We called it the Fall Gauntlet, where we were literally gone for 8 straight weeks, 3 in California, Florida, Minnesota, here in Chicago. I mean, it's amazing we made it through it. It was a lot of fun, but it was pretty wild.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the guy in the van hauling all that equipment back
No,
over the country every, load all that stuff up, and you've got a few days to get to the next spot.
Yeah,
So.
and the hardest run that they had was, I believe, Fresno, California to Daytona Beach, Florida. And Shannon, one of our last drivers, I was complaining to him. It's like, oh, geez. You know, I got to fly here, fly there. And he looked at me and said, hey, fella, I'm driving. So, yeah,
3,000 miles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm complaining about a little jet lag, and I didn't get my Delta movie. You know, I didn't get upgraded to economy comfort. And he's behind the wheel. So, yeah, all of the men and women that help us out here on the HPT, just want to say thank you.
Well, Dave, I didn't know you did this before in a market somewhere, so I was wondering why you were so natural and so good at it. Now I know. I don't feel so bad now.
I had a full-time job on TV in England back in the day.
Oh, my God. Now I don't feel so bad.
I used to do like 6 hours of live horse racing coverage a day. Like 40, 50 races, and that was a long time ago, and almost another life it seems like, but it's, whether it's making a TV final table or broadcasting, there is something that feeds the ego. There's no getting around it. It's something that, that hits your id, whatever, it makes you feel good about yourself. It's hard not to. And what's really hard is not to let it get to your head. Unlike Mr. Larson.
Yeah, exactly. It finally, it's actually.
Can I shine your shoes, sir, before I leave, by the way?
The reason I got into radio is because I wasn't good enough to make it into a band and be a rock star. The reason, honestly, I got into this, I always wanted to be what you guys are doing. I wanted to play poker on the national stage, but I realized it wasn't good enough, and I realized I can't sit still for 13 hours and then wake up and do day 2 and then come back and play a final table. So I decided to get into behind the scenes, and it's a way for me to enjoy what these guys enjoy. And
well, you're better off having a steady paycheck coming in anyway, instead of the playing poker, not knowing when the next paycheck might come in. That's why I play part-time. I mean, I could never do this full-time.
Jake, by the way, is 3-bet light from the button here, punishing Breck, who raised from the hijack with a moderate ace. And Jake's biggest success today has come when 3-betting light against opponents that he could pressure.
Yeah, he doesn't trust the late position raise, and he's going to test you. And even if you call him, he'll see what the flop brings. You've got king 6, you just might hit king 6 or 6-6. You don't know.
I want to thank everybody for the great comments today, guys. Really interactive, and I don't think we've haven't had to block anybody yet, and everybody's being really nice. So thanks everybody out there in the Twitch world, and we're happy to have you on the twitch.tv/HPT Poker.
I've heard from a few folks myself, Larry and Bill and a couple others. I don't know if Ralphie's actually watching this down in Florida or New Jersey, wherever he is, but I heard from him.
It's great to have everybody
Folds
with us
into the blinds again. This level, we've seen very, very slow play, if you will.
Well, like you said a few minutes ago, I mean, it started out with fireworks, with the big hands, and now it's like everybody's struggling to see any hand, which is why I feel the aggression works, because if you realize that most of the time guys are making moves without hands as strong as they need them to be, and you come over the top of them, they're wanting to fold, they're wanting to get away. So you just have to always be testing the other players, in my opinion.
And Craig, I think you've noticed this too. These HPT final tables, there's no such thing as a fast one anymore. They're
well, the structure is such that the hour levels on day 2 makes it, lends itself to that. And that's the biggest difference of all. Hour levels on day 2, hour levels at the final table until players get heads up. And Vin limps the big blind here with an ace and flops an ace and can't get any significant action from Joe. Just a min bet on the flop that he raises, and Joe snap folds.
Well, that's why the HPT is so successful and getting more successful all the time. It's because of the blind levels and the structure. I mean, the players love it. I mean, where else can you go? That's why I play here. Where else can you go that you can get there literally Friday? You could literally get there Saturday and be heading home Sunday night if you're not successful, if you don't make day 2, or if you get knocked out of day 2 early. So you've got a chance at winning hundreds of thousands of dollars in a weekend. So you don't have to miss work. So it's just, that's why players love it.
Hey, real quick, talk about the event here in Chicago where you made it through one of the largest fields that you've probably ever played in, and talk about that event. Where was that? And
it was at the Horseshoe. It was the Chicago Poker Classic. They had 6 day ones. It was a $350 buy-in tournament. It ended up drawing 5,165 players. And at that point, it was the largest tournament in world history as far as number of players, except for the World Series of Poker main event. And first day, I ran my 10,000 up to 100, 150. And then the second day, I ran it up to 10 million and went to the final table with the chip lead and got down 44 million, 4 million at one point. Heads up. And was playing Zalarani. He's a great player, and I was fortunate enough to win it. So it was exciting.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and step aside for our first break of the day. It's straight up 2 o'clock here, Chicago time, here in the East Chicago Majestic, where are we at? The Ameristar Casino Hotel, East Chicago. Whoa, I was thinking about what we were just talking about.
The guys who write your checks, come on.
I know, right. So anyway, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have more exciting HPT action.
Once again, our live stream is at twitch.tv/HPT Poker.
It was 8-9. I'm pretty sure.
It's me. I feel like I've been doing it well. Like I've been like leaving them on.
Everybody has it a little bit. I've been leaving it right on there the whole time, and there's been a couple. Yeah, I've just.
Our new blind level is going to be at a 10,080,
the whole time.
30,000, 60,000.
I don't know what else.
Luis here is going to take over commentary just for a little while.
Put them on top of each other.
All right, you guys ready to go? 10,080, 30,000, 60,000. Go ahead and deal.
All right, welcome back to the HPT here as we broadcast from the Ameristar Casino Hotel East Chicago. James Larson alongside with Jason Finn, who's with the Windy City Poker Tour, and we've got Craig Casino all the way down. So, Jason, welcome to the booth.
Thanks very much. It's a pleasure to be here at the Ameristar East Chicago Casino.
Fold around to Joe.
For this HPT final table. My first opportunity to be at an HPT final table, so I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, and you know the Chicagoland poker scene, and it's a good one, isn't it?
It's a great one. You had, I mean, I was
Action
saying
of Mike in the
earlier,
small line.
as we chatted sort of during the break, that I don't know how I can come into the booth and add value after 3 of your 15 all-time money winners
I
right
know.
here. But it's wonderful. I've gotten the opportunity to work with Craig a couple of times and watch him play and run people over, as well as
you must
Stan
have me confused with
David.
somebody else. I'm sorry.
That's the other Craig they're talking about.
Yeah,
this
that's
guy's
right, yeah.
relaxed and reserved.
Jerry
and
calls.
very nitty. He's a very nitty.
Super tight. That's been my experience as well.
All right, so guys, we'll see if the cards can heat up a little bit. The last half hour, a little bit
Flop
of
comes 10 of
lag
spades,
in
3
play.
diamonds,
Just not a whole
10
lot
of
of
clubs.
action with the cards.
Mike's
And
first
you
stacked
expect
and
that
checks.
here on a live stream like this. And I love that our viewers get to see all of the hands.
Jerry
On
checks over to
TV, as
Joe.
you know, everything gets chopped
Who
down to
coming
about a
out of the break was
44-minute
our chip
episode.
leader at
2 of those, and
4.45
you miss
mil.
out on a lot of the big hands. And
Got
some
a
of these
bet to
hands that maybe some people do think
130,000.
are boring. Maybe the walks and things like that all have, a lot to do with the final, who wins the thing. Well, every hand is important.
Absolutely. The other component of it is after the break, I'm guessing the blinds and antes have gone up.
Mike
So there'll be a
calls.
little bit more
Action to
pressure
Jerry.
on the stacks, particularly the shorter stacks, to start making some things happen.
Exactly. So we started with 9. We lost 1, so we are down
players
to
in
our
the turn.
final 8 players. Go to the turn card now. It's
Turn
the
is the
5 of clubs.
This is where the game has
Checking
changed.
Joe.
In the past, Joe puts that bet out there last time. The other players right away thinking, okay, he must have the 10, and he folds it. Now nobody wants to give you credit
know.
for anything, and
So
they're thinking,
true.
yep. So when you do have that 10, you always have to bet it because you're probably going to get called.
Absolutely.
Check. And the river card.
We can go to the river card
River
now. It's
card
another
is
10.
a
This
10
time
of
it's
hearts.
the 10 of hearts. Michael there with the check mark.
Michael might be, he is smart enough to be thinking his king high may be good.
I think if Joe were to bet behind him, there's a decent chance that he would call him down. He's got a showdown here.
Michael thinking about it. He is going to check.
Check, check.
And Michael's
Mike
going to
turns
see
over
that he's going
queen
to win the
of
hand.
hearts, king of hearts, and he will
First
take it
hand
down.
back from break. Up for grabs tonight, $190,417. That's first place money. The next elimination will go home with $21,157.
Jake in the 1 seat came back with 2.165 mil after the break. Daniel coming back
Craig,
with
always a big prize
1.635.
pool here.
Joe
at
was our
this
chip leader
property,
at the break at 4.45
entries,
mil.
and someone's going to go home very happy. A total prize pool of $328,560.
Mike with a 2.715.
It's amazing to see that
Jerry with
you finish 6th
730K.
and you're getting about
Brett,
10% of what,
just
or
over
if
2
you finish
mil.
9th, you're about
And
10%
Nick with
of
just
what
under 3 mil coming back
the
from
winner's
break.
going to get. I said 6
Blinds are
because I've been around
30,000,
since the days when the
60,000.
HPT tables
Right.
were
Action
only
in it.
6
Right.
players. I've forgotten.
All right, well, Nick's got a hand
Oh,
here.
a
He's
hand.
got pocket kings. See what he decides to do. Perfect.
I always hate getting those big pair in first position.
Nick's going to raise to 100.
Right up front. It's like, here you go. How are you going to play these? You're under the gun.
And there's still 8 players here. I mean, it's like we haven't lost anybody
No.
since Stan, so it's like
Raises to 180,000. Jacob's going to fold.
Nice disciplined fold.
Yep.
And now Joe's got the big stack, right? He's got 4.2 million in chips, and he's got one of those hands that's really fun to play in
Fold,
position.
muck, fold.
Wow,
He's over to Mike on the button.
Jake has the best beard at the table.
Yeah, he sure does.
But I think combo of beard and hair, hands down, has to go to Joe, right?
Mike
And
folds, Jerry
Nick's not going
folds.
to get any action. And
Breck folds,
Breck
and Nick
shows
will take it
his
down.
deuce.
We knew he was going to show one card. Did you think he was going to show the ace, show the stack, or show the deuce?
So talk about, Jason, the Windy City Poker Tour a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's a show that I've been working on for, 7 or 8 years now, probably. Kirk Fowler, our executive producer, started the show about a year before I joined. I had the opportunity to come on to analyze a couple of hands one time, and had the opportunity to come back, which was really great. It's a lot of fun. We do a couple events a year.
10,000 ante, 30,000, 60,000 blinds.
A $3,000 buy-in event that'll be televised, and it's sort of supplemented.
The action will start in the one seat with Jake.
Website, which I launched 13 or 14 years ago.
Wow.
So,
And he does a great job at it.
Well,
And I'm not just saying that because you're always nice to me when I'm on. It's just you just really do a good job. Actually, I recommended you to the HPT too. So
Hey, there you go.
I was that
There you
impressed
go.
with your work. So.
Well, yeah, and let Kirk know I'd love to come out and join you guys. He's asked me a couple of times to play.
Jake folds
some of your
over to
featured
Daniel.
tables, and I'd love to come
Daniel makes a
back here
raise
and
to
splash around and
150,000.
donate to some of the great people here in the Chicagoland area.
that'd be excellent. We'd be happy to have you.
We'd be happy to have your money,
Action
Jake.
I'm
So you
sure,
come
yeah.
come right on out.
Speaking of money here, Daniel with pocket aces.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Look at this. We got a cooler coming, guys. Look at this. Queens for Jerry. He loves it. Is that the look of an all-in?
You know, yeah, probably. You know, when you've got kings, the odds of somebody having aces is only like
There
just
he is,
under
he's all in.
3%.
Jerry
But
pushes
with
all
queens,
in.
You got to figure. I got to go with that.
Now Breck looks down at 9-8. He's going to get out of the way.
550. He had no choice there. He had nothing else he could do.
Nick with just a 4 tray.
Craig, I heard you earlier talking a
Fold
little
back
bit
over
about
to
how
Daniel, who calls.
Jerry maybe missed some value, made a couple of
No good,
aggressive
sir.
bets in spots where he
Flips
could have
over ace of
probably picked up
diamonds,
some
ace of
chips.
clubs.
Right.
Jerry
All right,
with the
well,
queen of
Daniel
hearts and a
obviously
queen of
makes the
diamonds.
call, so the tail of the tape is as follows. Daniel with the big hand, the pocket aces, going up against Jerry, who's all in for his tournament life. He's willing to improve, or he's going to be eliminated in 8th
How was
place.
that?
What a rail.
He can take the hit without being knocked out. Who starts back at mine?
That's the problem with tournaments. You'll have to avoid these pitfalls for days.
Yeah, you wait around for a hand, you finally get queens,
Get
you
it,
run them
boom.
right into aces.
Yep. There's always something that can mess you up.
There's still 5 cards to go, gentlemen, so.
All right, and we're going to the flop.
All right, let's go to that flop, see if Jerry can improve. And the flop is
Flop
king
comes 8 of
8
clubs,
deuce.
2 of diamonds, king of spades.
There's always some sort of
Daniel's
big
still in the lead.
Yeah,
Going to have to avoid
right,
queen.
yeah. Jerry looking to catch cards here to improve, or he's going to
And the
be
turn.
eliminated. And
Turn
it's the
comes
7
7 of clubs.
So
Aces are still in the
as you can
lead.
see, just a 6% chance
And the river
trying to
card.
grab one of those, hit one of those remaining queens in the deck.
River card
It's
is
not
a
meant to be,
6
it's
of
the 6 of
spades.
spades.
Let's give him a
And
round of
that
applause
man
to our
is
8th place winner.
eliminated.
Jerry.
Nice payday,
converted it.
$21,000.
The rail fully got me.
$57.
Down to 7.
Had to do it to me, huh?
For 3 days of work.
Well, I had to have the queen. I had to have the queens there, right? With the short
Database that I
stack.
looked at were about 45,000. He won a Rio daily, which is a big field. That's a hard
Absolutely.
So he's had some good fortune before
Well,
the
yeah.
card.
Who takes the mic and whatever?
Superman beat. Now you beat the 2080.
Daniel smiling as his aces hold up, and there you look at the chip count. Joseph with 69 bigs, Michael with 51, Nick, Dan, Jacob, and then rounding out the group there, Breck. And Vin's still got 20 big blinds. With this structure, with this format, you don't really have to get
8th
too
place is
crazy.
going to
do you,
receive
Craig?
Vin's been playing very
$21,157 for
solid.
Jerry.
He's taking his time, biding his time, but he's going to get to a point here where he's got to make something happen.
By the way, Daniel, who won that hand, he took 11th place that year that Mike Puccio won this thing a couple of years ago. So about $100,000 in lifetime earnings.
Button is in the 8th seat this hand.
Jerry going out and
Fold over to Mike, who lays it down.
See See Breck here with King Queen. We used to call that the HPT
Got
special.
a raise to 150,000 by Breck on the button.
Probably a hand maybe we've seen actually overplayed a little bit, possibly, Craig, here on the HPT.
Yeah, there's no question of that, but it's just so pretty when you
It
look
is
down
pretty,
and see
especially
that
when it's
king,
suited
queen.
like that. It's
I
red,
know.
the diamonds. It looks so nice. The problem is you go up against hands like the ace-jack, and after the flop, you're beat once that ace comes out.
For me, it doesn't matter what position you are on the table. You get king, queen, of diamonds.
I like
you just
it.
Feel
I
like
like
you gotta,
it too,
You just
man.
got to play it.
I like
And
it
the
too.
flop.
And Jake's going to just call the raise from
Or heads up on the flop.
Jack.
Flop comes 4 of spades, 4 of
Couple
hearts,
of fours
7
and
of
a
diamonds.
7.
Check over to Breck.
Jacob is going to check over to Breck. Breck reaching for chips now.
Breck's going to make
Jacob knows he's probably got the best hand
125,000
right now. Although not necessarily with when you consider the big blind. He could have any 2 cards in this spot. But you can never give credit for that 7 or the 4. Well, he did anyway.
Wow.
Jacob thinks about it for a little while and lays it down.
Jacob's going to fold, so Breck wins that hand.
I get the impression, and I didn't get the benefit of the full first couple of hours of play, but I get the impression Breck's been playing a little bit snug, being a little conservative.
Yeah, now down to 7-handed in this main
Jake
event.
gave me credit there.
That's the only way Jake's going
Blinds are
to be laying that down.
30,000, 60,000.
Or situational read at least.
About
Breck,
10
one
minutes
of
into
our
this level.
success stories into this event for just $730. I love hearing stories like that, the qualifiers, these people that get in for $275 or $300, or maybe they win a home game where all their friends throw in a couple bucks, and you parlay that into 5th place money, and it's almost
Joe will be under the gun this
$40,000.
hand.
They're just great stories. Love hearing those stories.
It's the dream coming true.
And then you've got the other side of the coin where you fire 8 or 9 bullets in a week, and we know people have had to do that.
Action to Vin.
A week, that's pretty good.
Makes a raise
Don't
of
look at me when you say
I'm
that.
not looking
I've
at
never-
anybody.
I've
I'm not
never
pointing
been
any fingers.
Close to that many.
Well, our short stack Vin is actually going to open it up here with the small pocket pair.
Do you like the pocket deuces, Craig? You talked about you never not want to see a flop with it, you told me.
I like if you come in with a raise on it, yeah, because you've got people to act after you. Everybody may have a poor hand, and they may all muck, so you have a shot at winning there. And if not, then you go to plan B, which is hitting the deuce.
Hitting the deuce, yeah.
And Craig's plan B always seems to work out.
Small blind set.
He's sneaky like that, okay? The guy's sneaky like that.
Jacob makes a raise
Jake with a
to
real hand puts in the 3-bet.
360,000.
Now, let's say Jacob doesn't have the ace-king. He puts in that bet with the deuces. If an ace does hit the board and you represent it, and the other guys don't have
Right.
an ace at all, you got like multiple chances to win.
Absolutely.
But the point
Daniel's
is you're
gonna lay
staying
down the big
aggressive
blind.
through all of those chances. You're pre-flop,
Back over to
after
our
the flop,
original
you're
raiser,
staying
Vin.
aggressive. And sometimes you're wrong and you got to escape. This case, he's got ace-king, so he's not going anywhere, obviously.
And Vin was going to get a call from either one of them. If Jake folds, Joe probably calls there with his ace.
Sure. With Vin stacked here, though, I gotta. He's in a shove or fold, but I can't imagine him. What's he doing?
235, 360.
He's thinking about it is what he's doing. Vin decides to do here.
He's giving up almost 25% of his stack if he makes the call here, hoping to hit a 8-to-1 shot.
Vin's a nail technician.
There he goes.
Grew up in Vietnam.
Vin goes in the tank for a bit
$70,000 in total
and lays
career
it down.
earnings.
Stan Jablonski said he was playing real solid, and that was kind of a solid move to lay that down right there. A lot of guys will get panicky when their stack gets down like his is, and they'll just be looking to shove it in there, hoping.
My suspicion is that he knew fairly early in that little decision window there that he was going to fold, and that he wanted to let these guys know it's not going to be easy from here on out. If I put chips in, I'm probably going to defend him. Don't push me around.
Great point.
So, Craig, your resume on the HPT, we talk about it quite a bit, but what a lot of
Button's
people
gonna
don't
start in
know
the one
about
seat.
you is You didn't start playing poker when you were 18. You didn't start when you were 21 or 25, for that matter. Tell everybody when you picked up the game.
I was close to that. I think I was 56. It's only, what,
right.
30 some years
30
later.
some years later.
Wait a minute, you told me you were 29.
Can you imagine if this guy, Jason, would have started when he was 18
around
or
a Nick in
20?
the 9 seed?
You'd be breaking everybody's records.
No, I missed the first 5 years with you guys entirely.
Yeah.
Before I played
Yeah.
the first event, and I bubbled the TV table, which was I could have killed myself.
Nick's
If
gonna
I
make
knew
a
what I
little
knew
splash
now,
to
that never happened.
150,000.
Yeah.
I'm going up the two big chip stacks, me and the other player, and he ended up steamrolling the table and winning it. But I shouldn't have been involved in that hand with him.
Nick with his king queen. We talked about that hand earlier. He's going to raise it up to 150,000.
If Craig had started about 10 years earlier, poker might not have taken off. He might have taken everybody's money early on.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Might have cleaned everybody out. But the story I
Folds
always
over
like to
to
talk
Joe
about
in
is
the
when
big
you
blind.
won your event in Colorado, and Bernard Lee's mentioned it to me 12 or 13 times, that you thought you were eliminated. You stood up and you were walking out of the poker room, and he said, "Hey, fella, come back here."
Lost a big hand. I lost a straight to a river full house. Guy had 2 pair. He hit it on the river, and he just looked like he had more chips than me. But because of the denominations,
Joe
you
calls the
couldn't really tell.
150,000.
So I'm putting my
heads up to the
backpack
flop.
on, and I'm starting to walk
Yeah.
away. And Bernard says, "Hey, don't go anywhere. You still got some chips." Dealer throws back 2 $10,000 chips with the blinds at 30
Flop
and
comes 10 of hearts, 3 of diamonds.
Unbelievable.
and there's like
Diamonds.
21 players left. By the time we got
Action
from
on
21
Joe
down to
first.
9, I had
Who
the
checks?
chip lead going into the final
Wow.
or the final 6. I'm sorry, had the chip lead going into it. So obviously that wasn't because of great play. It was
Yeah.
just because
Check to
the
Nick.
cards were coming
Right,
and I was
right.
hitting things and everything. The stars
Turn
aligned.
card
as they
comes
say.
8 of
Third card's the
spades.
8 of spades. I hope you send Bernie a Christmas card.
Oh,
every
yeah.
year. You should. The way he told the story, you were out the door, you were scraping the ice. I said, "Hey, come on back."
He's up there. He tackled me.
He
now.
tackled you.
Dragged me
He
back.
drug
tied
you
me
back.
up.
He gave you
Yeah.
poker
lessons.
Right, gave you a quick lesson.
I tell you, Bernard's he's a great guy. He does a lot for charity. Does
Good
a lot
friend
for
of ours,
poker.
yeah.
He's a
We have a
great
call?
guy.
He sure does, and he's told me that story 2 or 3 times.
And the river card.
So I know he takes a little credit for your success, Craig.
River comes
There's
king
the
of
river
clubs.
card. It's the king of clubs. So, as you can see, Nick with the check mark.
It's interesting. Joe tried to bet and take this pot away from Nick on the turn, and
Well, sometimes that's what you have to do, right, Greg Casino?
Sure, and if he doesn't hit the king on the end and he makes another bet, Nick folds. But now
Joe is first
he just
to
stepped
act and
into
bets
Yeah, just kinda
450,000.
running into a
Excuse me,
he hit the
buzzsaw.
king, but he's
450,000.
the big stack, and that's how he should play.
And a call.
And a call. So Nick's going to win this
Joe
hand. And
folds,
Craig, that's
and
kind of your
Nick will take
style.
this
Once
pot.
you accumulate some chips, you like to play. You like to be very active.
I do. I like playing suited connectors, as you've mentioned many times on TV and things. But again, when you open a pot and you've got 7, 8 of diamonds, you could get everybody else to fold. And if they don't, if they've got ace king or some such hand, you could still hit your flop big. And they're thinking you've got an ace in your hand. So if they don't have an ace and an ace hits the board, you continue. Again, there you've got a couple opportunities to win a pot, win chips. You just have to know when to escape. That's the keys, knowing when to escape.
Knowing when to hold them and when to fold them.
Yep, and it's getting harder to do, as I said, because players are getting better all the time.
They sure are.
They're
They
floating
sure
you
are.
to scare you,
Lines
and
are
then
30,000, 60,000.
coming back at you.
and unfortunately, I'm still getting all of my poker.
Action over to
advice from
Nick in
manufacturers
the.
as well.
I know that's why I'm in the broadcast booth here in the back room of the Ameristar Casino. By the way, you can check us out on Twitter
Folds
at
over to
HPT
Jacob,
James.
who lays
We'll
it
take your
down.
questions, your comments. We'd like to keep it interactive right here on the HPT. And if you want to join us, all of our events,
Daniel
they're on
folds
the
the
website,
button.
hptpoker.com. We've got New Orleans coming up, and then we've got our cruise this weekend. We're doing that. New Orleans is right around Super Bowl weekend. I'm going to miss that one because I'm getting back from the boat that Saturday. So I'm going to go home and watch the Super Bowl. And the Vikings
calls
playing this
the
year? I don't remember.
60,000.
Don't think so.
No, I don't
Action
think
of in
so.
in the big
Unless
blind.
they're playing the Bears for like the bottom of the bottom of the
right,
pile.
yeah, the
Van
toilet bowl
raises
maybe.
to 160,000.
See who gets to stay
And
in the
Joe
league.
lays it down.
Right,
No
yeah,
further
to
spot.
see who's got to go to the USFL or the Canadian League.
So Joseph there, I couldn't remember why I remembered his name so well, Joseph Elpaya, and I knew it was from a World Poker Tour event. So what happened was about 3 or 4 years ago, his hair was shorter, like Min's there, or Vin's. So he gets to a point where he calls the clock on another player. Joe calls the clock on another player, and the other player got upset about it. So they had some words at the table. Very next hand, the other player plays back at him 3 times with Jack 8, and he's
Buzz
got
on
in,
Joe, 3 seat.
What's his name? I'm sorry.
Breck will be first
Joe.
to act.
Sorry about that. Joe's got ace king, and an ace hits the flop.
Makes a raise to
And he got
150,000.
bet out of the hand and ended up folding on the river on a board that was not scary, and he just put the other guy on a set. And Mike Sexton was saying, "Well, he can't fold top
Fold
pair,
over
top
to
kick
Joe
there."
on the button.
And he did. But then again, if the other guy does have a set, then he's going, well, why is he calling off all his chips with one pair? You know, so as commentators, you've got a real advantage in knowing what the cards are.
You sure do. You sure do.
And the comments you make about it.
Who folds over to Mike in the big blind.
So we're always very nice to you, Craig.
Yeah,
and I appreciate it.
And it's a lot easier up here, you know.
Mike will defend.
And I think you can get better
Heads up to the flop.
watching televised poker, but you still have to play. You got to get down and get the reps on
Flop
the felt.
comes
Flop
4
8,
diamonds,
4 deuce.
2 of hearts, 8 of
because it's just
spades.
the whole mindset. Everything's different. It's
Check
easy
to
to sit
Breck.
up here and make perfect decisions, even without seeing the whole cards. But when you're down there
Who
under
checks?
the lights and
the
everybody
turn.
watching you and the dealer and a lot going on.
Turn card
That's why I
comes,
think
7 of
experience is so
spades.
important. The more you play, the better you get in those situations. And really relaxing. I think it's so important to relax. Whatever that is for you, whatever it takes you to that happy place, if you will, you got to find that.
Absolutely agree. Michael with the double gutter here, by the way, and Breck still with the best hand with ace jack. Sometimes when I sit down at the table
Mike checks.
after sitting in the booth for a little while, I feel like I can see that
Breck makes a bet of 150,000.
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. You know, I do the show with Kenny James, and he's so full of information. Sometimes I think he's too smart for the game. You know?
Mike raises.
He's got too many. He's got the thing figured
500
out.
and 5,000.
I think that can almost
Action over to
work
Breck.
against him sometimes. You start second guessing yourself.
Everybody's different. It's like I'm a situational player. I play the situations on the table and the people.
Yeah.
And I know there's other players that are highly mathematical and will always go with the EV choice and whatever. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, over the long sphere of poker,
Alan
they're
Kessler's
probably
made a living doing
Well, they're
it.
probably going to do better. Yeah, but I just I don't know.
I'm the same way.
I have to play by feel more so than I do by numbers. I mean, I'll sit there and figure out, okay, I've got 9 outs going into the turn, so I know I'm about 35%. That's about as far as I'm going to take the math. I don't go way beyond that.
This is a really interesting spot. Both players checked the flop. Michael checked the turn, and Breck led for 150. And then Michael back raced him to 505. Breck wondering what the heck Michael could have.
And he's raising into an under-the-gun player on top of it.
Yeah.
But he's trying to scare him with the fact that, okay, I'm in the big blind. I could have these low cards in my hand, and if you've got ace king or ace queen, you're going to have to fold to this bet, which is most likely what's going to happen here. Small blind and big blind hands can shock you. And sometimes, he's calling.
He's going to make the call.
After tanking, Breck makes the call.
I think Mike probably put Breck
And the
in
river
exactly
card.
the hand he has.
River
River card comes, 9 of hearts.
of hearts.
Now does Michael continue?
Boy, it's tough, isn't it, Greg, to do that again,
It
grabbing
is.
those chips. It's really hard to do that.
Well, Michael's thinking, you got ace king or ace queen. Did you really make that call on the last card? And what are you going to do if I bet out here? This is high quality play right now, for sure.
He decides to
Checked, he gave up.
Check over to Breck.
Breck has the check mark.
Breck may feel the only way he can win is to bet.
Breck makes a bet of 620,000. Mike folds, and Breck will take down this pot.
Over 1.4 million chips.
Is that a bet you make on the river, Craig?
No, I would just show the cards and hope he has the hand he has.
Hope for the best. Yeah.
And then I'm kicking myself if he's got a deuce or a 4 in his hand. Then I'm kicking myself for thinking if I did make the bet, I could have taken it away from him.
Got
All
about
right, well, the
36
action
minutes
continues
left in
here
this
for the
level. About
Ameristar
halfway through
Casino
the
Hotel
30,000,
East Chicago.
60,000
James Larson
round.
joined with Jason
And these are
Finn
still
from the Windy
10,000.
City Poker Tour, as well as
Button will
Craig,
start in the
the
fourth seat
legend
with Vin.
Casino, the all-time leading casher here on the HPT, and a couple other your resume is just you are Mr. HPT. That's what we
Nick
should
will be
call
under
you.
the gun.
Well, I enjoy playing here. I play part-time. I enjoy playing here, and I've been very fortunate to get where I have. I had some early success, and success sometimes can breed more success because you got the money to play poker at that point, so that's what I do.
All right, Jacob's going to fold. Daniel looks down at ace-9. Suited in hearts.
Nick and Jacob both fold.
You guys kind of wait.
Daniel makes a raise to 150,000.
Be the aggressor. We haven't really seen a whole lot of that so far. Nobody's really, taken the initiative yet.
I think you'll see that more when they get down to like 5-handed or so. They start realizing, but they've still got 7. So, I mean, I'd like to see it. We'd all like to see it, but they're playing smart. They're playing solid. So. And you can tell there's a lot of thought process going on between the players, so you know it's a high-quality table.
Who makes a raise to 400,000.
So the raise was to 150. Did Vin just?
Both
No, Vin
blinds
did
fold.
3-bet that. Okay, up to 400,000.
Action back to Daniel.
Now
The
Michael's
original
going to
raiser.
fold his queen-jack. Brett gets out of the way. Now Daniel with the decision here.
Vin's only got 715 behind.
Yeah.
So he knows Vin's in it for all 5 cards.
Right.
Spades?
What?
Spades.
And I think if Vin shoves there, there's a chance Daniel calls. But betting only part of his stack, I think, it's a sign. It's a sign of strength. And I said that about Stan earlier. And then when Stan was in here and you asked him what he did with that hand, he said, "I thought it would be scarier for my opponent if I didn't shove all in."
Daniel thinks long and hard, but
maybe Stan and I
ends up
spent
laying
too
it
much
down.
time talking to each other.
Vin's going to take down the pot.
That's how you look at it.
That's exactly it, and Vin is going to take it down without a fight. And adds about a quarter of a chip stack to his stack. I get the sense you were talking about some of the players starting to take over. I feel like Mike is the guy who's kind of laying in wait for that spot to start opening it up. And Joe has been pretty selective with his aggression, but has done a really nice job of finding his spots as well. Jake's another guy, right, with a little bit of experience and a real solid game, it seems like.
Yeah, we were talking about him a little bit earlier. I was talking to some of his friends from Western Michigan, and they said he's probably one of the top players in their group, and a few of them are home right now listening. I played with him on day 2. He is very solid.
Jacob's under the gun this hand. Folds to the $60,000
Daniel
big
now's got
blind.
a hand. Pocket kings. We've seen pocket kings 3 or 4 times now here on this broadcast.
Action over to Daniel, who makes it 150,000 now.
Smile on his face as he looks at his cards. I don't think you're supposed to do that, are you?
I know. 150,000. Now look at this.
Mike on the button is going to call the 150.
Michael just makes the
We're
call.
over to Nick in the big blind.
Brett gets out of the way.
Nick folds. Will be heads up on the flop.
So much money.
Really?
9-7.
The old 9-7?
Yeah, I don't know what the prop is.
All right, kings going up against 10s. Let's go
Flop
to the
is
flop.
8 of
It's
hearts,
queen,
queen of
8,
clubs,
4.
4 of spades.
Daniel's still in the lead.
Michael, I think, would have re-raised
Daniel
if
will be
Daniel
first
wasn't
act.
wasn't the second to act in the hand. If he was in a later position, I think Michael's definitely re-raising.
Daniel makes a
but
bet of
he's a little
200,000.
bit concerned that he could be getting crushed right now. He thought he'd try to hit that set or reevaluate if 3 undercards show up.
Mike with the smooth call, and we're going to the turn.
Yes.
That is 200,000.
Turn brings a 6 of
Call.
diamonds.
Turn card now, 6 of diamonds. The king's still good.
Check.
Daniel's going to check.
I love that check.
It is a good spot.
Check.
Check.
And the river card.
A lot of players are afraid to see another card peel
River
off.
card will be a 9 of diamonds.
River card, 9 of diamonds. What would you like to see Daniel bet here, Craig? It's a pot of 860,000.
Yeah,
Half?
probably.
Daniel
Yeah, I'd
makes a
say
bet
450 or
of
so.
300,000.
Just over,
440,
just under,
450.
would be appropriate. And because of the check, he's probably going to get called.
1.2 million in the pot. The bet was 300,000, so he elected to go a little less than that 400, 450.
I'd be surprised if Mike lays this down. I mean, he felt safe with his check because there were 4 different suits on the board, and it was a little bit of a stretch to think anybody was working on a straight there. So the check with those kings after the turn was a good move, and that might just get him paid off this other $300,000 now.
Mike taking his time here with this decision. Well, he doesn't want to lay it down, does he?
No.
How hard is it to fold here when you're getting 4-1?
Yeah, he doesn't play scared, but he's just thinking through everything he knows and trying to make a good decision.
He's going to make the call.
Mike with the call.
Yeah, Daniel's going to
Daniel turns over King
I would
of
have made that
clubs,
call
King
too.
of hearts for a pair of kings.
He would have made it a little quicker, I think.
And he's going to take down this pot.
Maybe, but I would have made the call.
You would have made the call, yeah.
Yeah, if you play worried about 1 or 2 overcards having your pair beat, or
Daniel's had a good run in this event
you're just
here
never
for
going to be successful.
HPT.
You cannot play scared. You cannot
only
be
play
thinking
ace
about
and
what
king.
could beat me. I rarely get my
When I folded kings, you were ready for it.
That's part
Did
of my
fairly well in the slot
I'm always
department.
thinking, why
What I hear.
don't they have it? What don't they have? What can I represent here?
So I got
It's
to win
interesting
this.
there. Dan does make that check on the turn. He knew he was going to essentially get paid on one more street and not both of them, right? So
Right.
he checks the turn. There's very few scare cards, and that enables him to get that call on river.
Yep.
If he bets the turn,
Daniel with the home crowd
So I
behind
wonder
him
if
is
he
going
gets
to
the
be
value.
first
Yeah, I
act.
don't think he does. But then again, you're taking that chance, hoping to get paid off on the river, but you're allowing 1 more card to hit the board.
Sure.
So sometimes that bites you too.
All right, Vin now with Queen, Jack. Folded his hand. Started with 590 entries
Raised by
down to our final 7.
150.
63
Raised to
got paid,
150,000 by
prize pool,
Brett
almost
on the
329,000. First place tonight. 190, 417.
And he's going to take down the pot.
I think Mike's getting tired out there as well. I was sitting out in the field, out in the peanut gallery for a little while earlier, and Mike couldn't stay seated in the chair. He was up and down and up and down, and I was doing the same thing. But he was trying to keep himself focused. And then you take a hit like that, and you pay off a couple of bets.
Yeah.
And then it's really all you can do to stay focused.
Such huge jumps in money here. 7th, 25, 388.
like we have a new chip
Fourth place
leader.
is 53,000. Second, 117. And I just said
Nick in the 9th
champion
seat,
tonight,
just over 3.5 mil.
$190,417. So just so much on the line, And
Yep.
look at this. Vin here with Jack 10. Michael with the
Michael
pocket
with the 10s again.
Action over to
We've
Mike,
seen him, I think, have 9s
who
twice
raises
now,
to
10s twice.
145,000.
And you can see the frustration in his
Yeah.
face. I mean, he's getting cards, but he's not able to do much with them.
And now Breck with the HPT special, the old King Queen.
I think he's about due to
Breck
hit a
with the
set
call.
point. It just seems like he's.
I think he is. What do we say? 1 and 8.5.
8.3 to 1. Yeah.
He's getting close to that, so he is due. You're right. You're exactly right.
Let's see if he
Nick will
does.
fold
Though,
over
his
to Jacob,
expression changes
who's in
much.
the
He
small
looks
blind.
kind of dejected now. We'll just have to see how if he keeps that dejected look or if he perks up
Watch his shoulders.
if he hits it.
Yeah.
Action to Daniel, who folds.
The HPT
We're heads
special
up to the
have
flop.
diamonds because it seems to be.
Today it does. Today it's the special on
That's the
January 23rd.
That's the
Flop
HPT
brings
super
6 of spades, 4
Flop
hearts,
is
9 of
9,
clubs.
6, 4,
Mike is
so
first to act.
Michael in the lead.
As good as it gets without hitting a set.
Right, absolutely. And you want him to bet here, don't you, Craig?
Oh yeah.
Mike leads out with a $150,000 bet.
150,000
But
is the bet.
with 2 overs, Brett could call. He's got the chips to call for sure. See one more card peel off. He's playing conservative.
Over to Breck, who lays this pot down.
Gonna fold it.
Sometimes
Mike
that
will
one
scoop
diamond
this
is all
one.
you need on the board to make the call, right?
Yeah, so true.
So you can
true,
go
yeah.
runner diamonds
That's
on
right.
the end, even though the odds are only 3% that you're going to hit the runner diamonds on the end. But it happens. It seems to come up more than 3% of the times, but that's because when you're watching TV poker, they're showing the interesting hands, and a lot of times if a guy goes runner diamonds, he's winning an interesting hand.
Sure.
So I think that's why you see it more often than it actually happens.
And in my experience for you, Craig, it comes up about 50% of the time. Is that fair?
No, not at all.
I spent a little too much time with
Not
Bernard,
at
I
all.
think.
Hello, sir. We have a friend here joining us in the booth, Craig.
How are you?
We'll
Vin
bring
under
in
the
our
gun in this
special
hand.
guest here in a
Lays it
minute.
down to Mike,
after this
who
hand,
makes a
Craig.
raise of
Pocket
145,000.
fives for Mike. 8-7 for Breck.
1.9.
Mike was able to take one down with the pocket pair.
Action back over to Daniel in the small blind, who folds to Joe.
Daniel's going to fold over to Joe.
You know, considering you're only supposed to get a pair, pocket pair, once out of every 18 or 19 times, Michael Hahn is running way ahead of that average.
Yeah,
he's just not running ahead of the average on hitting the sets.
Should probably buy an Illinois lottery ticket when he leaves here. Action over to Joseph. We don't know what he has.
Joe makes the call.
What are you going to put him on here, Jay?
And we're heads up to the flop.
He's in the big blind. He's got a lot of chips. He's in position. He could have pretty much any
Joe
chips.
started out in the big blind this hand. He'll be first act.
By the way, joining us in the booth here is Jerry. Jerry was recently knocked out. The flop is king.
Flop comes queen of clubs,
seven.
king of clubs,
I think
seven
Joe
of
might
diamonds.
have hit a piece of that.
Check, check. Turn card is a king of diamonds.
The king of diamonds.
Scary board for fives.
2 pair for Michael. Kings and fives. We call that the Sammy Hagar, but the young kids just, they don't remember I Can't Drive
Joe opens the
55.
betting
They
round
never
by
heard it.
making
They
it
don't know of Montrose or
225,000.
Van Halen or Sammy Hagar. And the speed limit isn't 55 anymore either. I've got it dating myself here at age 40.
Mike will make the call.
Pocket aces is the speed limit in Montana.
And the river card.
Is that what?
That's right.
All right, we go to the river.
Brings a 6 of clubs.
Third club on board.
Joe leads out with 600,000.
600,000. Yeah, and this is going to be a fold, I would assume.
He's got Mike talking to himself.
Never a good sign.
No.
Oh, you know, I mean, I guess you never know. Depends on what yourself tells you.
And it's so unfair when the board pairs on the turn also, right? You think maybe I survived that flop
Right.
with my other pair. It's had nothing but difficult decisions.
If he calls this, I'll be totally amazed with that kind of board. Too bad we can't see Joe's cards.
Oh, we may get to see it if he puts in these chips.
I would have a lot more respect for him if he makes this call.
600,000, Jerry. I think he's beat.
I'm not so sure.
I mean, when he checked after that flop came down, I think if he had a queen in his hand, I can see him checking with the king out there. But if he had a king in his hand, which I don't think he does now because there's an extra king on the board, with the 2 clubs, I don't see him checking either. So he could have ace jack or ace 10 and trying to figure out what to do here.
And he doesn't fire twice with the 7.
And he's in no way stalling. He's in no way. He's just tough decisions these last couple of hands. He's taking his time because it's a big decision.
Mike
He
calls
makes
with
the call. We're going to see
600,000.
what he has.
Turns over pocket fives.
That's it.
Wow. Hey.
He's going to take down
You're
this
the man
pot.
there, Jay.
What a call. What a call that was.
Great call. Great call. Well, we were wrong. You were right. All right. Well, let's
Riveting action here
let's
at
put him on
Chicago
camera here. We
Ameristar.
got Jerry who
That could
finished.
really propel Michael, too. I mean, think about that. That could really propel him. If you make a move like that, it gives you all kinds of new confidence.
All right, James Larson, my name, alongside Jason here from Windy City, and then our 8th place finisher. Jerry, how do you say your last name?
Semenis.
Semenis. Jerry Semenis.
Semenis.
Dennis the Menace. Jerry Semenis. There you are on TV.
Still
Well,
about 20
congratulations.
minutes left in this level
you
of
played,
30,000,
you played well today,
60,000,
but what was your
10,000
experience
annies.
like? Tell everybody at home.
Vin will be the big blind this hand.
The way this is set up, the way the whole tournament is handled is terrific. And, you know, people working so hard to make sure everything goes well. So, yeah, no, it's
Mike
really
under the
great.
gun raises to
Structure is such
145,000.
That if you're not getting cards, if you're patient enough and make the
Breck and Nick both fold over to
wait
Jacob.
for position, make the right plays, you know, you can go far.
You were fairly aggressive early on, I noticed.
Yeah,
Did you just wake up and decide that was going to be your play today?
Yeah, I was bottom in chips, so I had to do something,
Sure.
and I decided I'd try to be a little more aggressive. I do regret, you know, one hand where the board had paired, you know, it was all small cards.
Yeah.
I should have bet that on the turn. And then also I had king 9 of spades. I probably shouldn't have been in that hand, but I thought I'd take a whirl.
Jacob Mutz
Flop the gut shot
to Daniel
straight,
on the
and
big
then
blind,
naturally
or excuse me, on the button.
Okay, we'll find out if the poker gods are
All
going
right,
to
yeah, exactly.
I must have
We
done
always
something
do.
wrong because they decided my
Mike's going to take down this
Yeah,
box.
exactly.
But no, there's a lot of great players left right now. It's
Who do you like, Jerry? Who do you like?
Michael seems to be playing well, and I can't think of the guy's name in seat 1. He seems to have good insight.
Jacob, yeah.
Yeah, he seems to have great insight. I almost felt at him last night, and he just chipped back up, and I mean, it was amazing how well the guy plays.
Can Jacob win, though, with a Detroit Lions sweatshirt on? I mean, that's the question. I mean, it's like wearing a Bears sweatshirt, isn't it, guys?
Really?
Coming from a Viking fan, we don't have any trophies either.
Button is on Joe this hand.
You guys do. We don't have any trophies.
Vin and Mike will be the small blind and big
I have a
blind.
confession to make. I grew up in the Detroit area, and I'm a Steelers fan. So
Okay.
last night was a little rough for me.
Yeah, well, we all saw it coming, though. It's one of those where it's like going into the final
Action
table
over
with
to Nick in the
3
9
big
seat.
blinds.
It
You know,
raises
you're not
to
expecting to win the thing.
140,000.
And Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, I think, will cruise all the way through this Super Bowl. And, nothing different in the old NFL, I guess. Tom Brady wins another Super Bowl.
I play with Dan a lot in tournaments, and he's a
Fold over to Joe on the button.
He's really been picking his spots, too.
Yeah.
He's been picking
And
his
I
spots.
think what happened is on the break, people were talking about
Who
the play,
folds to Vin?
and I think
Mike in the big
called
blind
it
makes the
that
call
last
of
hand
140,000.
because, they found out, the 3 seed
Will be heads up on the flop.
pushing and raising with a lot of marginal hands, suited connectors, whatever.
Flop is
And,
5
that
of spades,
might have
2 of
helped
clubs,
Michael quite
ace of
a bit
hearts.
on that.
Flop is ace, deuce, 5.
Mike checks over to Nick,
And Nick decided
who
to
bets
open up the pre-flop
225,000.
position with a more speculative hand, and Michael's playing his heater. He's got the HPT hand. And was in
He
the big
does.
blind.
He's got one
Mike will fold
diamond. He
and
doesn't
Nick
have
will
2
take down the
diamonds. He's got one.
So Jerry, I saw you had a cash earlier in one of the side events, the 6-Max tournament, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Do you play a lot of these?
Actually in August I cashed in 3 events: the senior event, the Omaha, and the main event. Okay. So I was 14th in the main event in August. But I try to come each time you guys are here, and like I said, it's really a great setup. Everybody does a great job.
How do you like retirement so far? Is it everything you dreamed it would be?
I'll tell you, I love it. The nice thing is being able to play poker anytime I feel like it. So
I want to
it's
retire.
all good. It's all good. Well, I'm 67 now,
Sure.
so I put in my time.
Yeah, my father and mother just retired last week, and they're in the car now heading down to
Action on
Arizona. So
That's scary. You could be my son.
yes, you're right about that,
Makes a
sir.
raise of
You're right about that.
150,000.
The son you never wanted to have, James Larson.
No.
All right, so Jacob's going to
No.
raise to 150,000.
I love watching you guys on TV
Thank
too.
you.
That's
Thank you.
always a
Appreciate
good learning experience, watching the commentary and everything else.
And speaking of the TV, on behalf of the HPT, and I know Windy City can agree with this too, we really have to thank a great partner here in the Chicagoland area, Comcast Sportsnet Chicago, having that blowtorch. Last night we were on at 8 o'clock. I mean, it's a huge stick, and a lot of homes reached with Comcast.
Joe makes a
Sportsnet.
re-raise to 425,000.
Great for Windy City Poker Championship, and as well, I know
For poker in general,
clubs,
I
3
mean, it's
diamonds
really
was
turned into a
exposed.
Sunday night. That's the big poker block, and got to thank Greg over there at Comcast. For
And
everything
action
that
back
he's
to
done.
Jacob.
It's been years. Last time I saw Greg, we were on we flew a private jet. The HPT did years ago. We all went out to Vegas from the Chicago airport here, Midway. One of my most fun memories of the HPT was going out there. Coming home was a little quieter. Everybody was a little down and tired and sleepy. And typical coming home from Vegas.
So Joe's got Jake in a little bit of a grinder here. Jake's in late-ish position, open with ace-jack. And Joe in the cutoff just showed some aggression a few minutes ago, just mucked his cards face down when called on a river bet, and now has a real hand in position in his re-raise. Jake.
Top of the hour here in East Chicago. You're watching the HPT exclusively here at twitch.tv. I want to thank everybody for joining us. James Larson alongside Jason and Jerry calling the action. A little bit of a delay, but it's 3 p.m. Central Time.
Jacob's going to lay this down, and Joe will take
Kind
down
enough to
this
deliver
pot.
the chips in person to Joe. Joe doesn't have to go get them.
I'm pretty impressed with the play, Jason. Very impressed.
We're
with
at about
play
the
tonight.
16-minute mark
A lot of
for
difficult
this level,
decisions from what I've
yes,
which
seen, and a
is
lot of right
30,000,
decisions.
60,000 with 10,000
Benefit of the
antes.
hole cards.
and you know, I got a feeling we're
Button
going to
will
be
start
here
in
a
the
while,
sixth seat
guys.
with Mike.
And nothing's going to happen real fast. Jerry, I know you're a PLO player. How do you like playing PLO, comparing it to Texas Hold'em?
It's a whole different kind of mindset, really, because the variability in the draws and everything is just so much greater. You really have to be on your toes all the time. And I think, and I play it mostly in cash games, but the variance is huge.
It sure is. It's a gambler's game, you know. I mean, we play Big O back home, and you talk about, you know, variance and swings. And
little swingy.
Yeah, very swingy.
Action over to Mike on the button, who raises to 130,000.
Well,
Craig folds.
Legend Craig Casino was correct. We see Mike's shoulders back in their originally installed position, up high and feeling good. Makes a raise from the button. And Nick in the big blind. I have a feeling he's going to defend his big blind.
Yeah, pocket jacks. I think you're right about that.
Let's see what happens. And Jerry, I have a question for you about Omaha.
So when you're raised to 130,000 here, guys, and you
Action
got
over
jacks,
to Nick, who makes a raise to 360,000.
Do you re-raise there? Sure. You 3-bet, and that's
Mike lays
exactly
it down,
what
and Nick
did.
will
He's gonna
scoop
win the
this
hand.
pot.
Very nice.
Nice.
So Jerry, I wanted to ask you as a PLO player, what a lot of guys have gotten into PLO slowly over the years after the great Hold'em boom. What's the biggest mistake you see early learning PLO players make? What do they do that makes the game so lucrative for the more experienced PLO players? Help me.
I mean, that's a tough one. I think what happens is there are so many solid hands you can have. And again, we get back to the variance that I think
Breck will have the button in his hand.
When they're making
Nick,
hands,
small line at
they're not
30.
the same as just regular Hold'em.
Jacob, the
So you
big
know what I
line
mean?
at 60K.
Your hands just don't hold up. I mean,
So they overestimate the strength of their hand?
Daniel
the strength
will
of their hand.
fold.
Thank you for giving me those words. But I
Over
think that's
to
really what the
Joe,
major
who makes a raise
concern is.
to
I still like Hold'em,
135,000.
You know, better, regular no limit. I do Omaha. You know, I cashed in it the last time here.
Sure.
But I like to focus more here on and take some of the variance
Vin
hopefully out
calls.
of it by the way I play. So we'll see.
Sure. I really fell in love with PLO, and it's just a fun game, you know. I really enjoy playing it, and you know, back home. That's
Action over to Breck
it's just
Breck
kind of
on the
game of
button, who
choice.
raises to
We play with Big O as well, Tuesday night.
425,000.
It's one of the biggest games in the Midwest. I won't give you the address here on the stream, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, listen, I'm gonna let you guys get back to work here and
Sounds
get Craig
good,
back in here. So I appreciate everything. You guys
Yeah,
did a great
thank you.
job.
Thank
so,
you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I was just thrilled to hit the
Nick
hit the
and
final
Jacob
table.
both lay down.
So with all the competition here,
Yeah.
that was a good feeling.
And enjoy that payday. Go have
I will.
yourself a nice
Thank you
steak
so much.
tonight.
Okay.
Action
All
over to
right.
Joe, who
Thanks so much.
pushes all
Jerry.
in.
Jerry from Arlington Heights, 67
much
years
you
old,
got?
retired.
So it looks like Joe opened this hand, and Vin was right behind him, made the call with ace-jack. Breck sensed an opportunity to squeeze, I think, with ace-4 on the button. Made a re-raise. Nope, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it
He
was
did
Joe.
make a re-raise.
Yep.
He made a 3-bet.
Yep, all in.
And then Joe said, nope, I've got the hand.
So for Breck, about $2 million to make this call.
We've got these wonderful graphics here to bail me out.
Fantastic.
every time I
Yeah,
make a
that's great.
mistake.
He's not calling.
2.34.
Joe is all in for 2,340,000.
He could either, you know, he's either crushed or he's going to have to hit the 4, you know, to beat the ace, king, ace, queen, ace, 10, whatever it is.
Yeah, you can't make that call. That's a fold.
Breck's going to fold, and Joe will scoop this pot.
And a great play from Joe. He sensed that that Breck was reading something that wasn't necessarily there. Ace Queen's a good hand, but it's gotten me into plenty of trouble.
Oh yeah, no question. It's never the wrong thing to question what the chip leader might be doing. You do have to play back at him. I mean, he's got the chips to make those plays, even if he's got king, queen, or other hands But you know, you have to put it all together, put the story together, and do I really want to do this right now? So he obviously decided no.
Absolutely.
I want to remind everybody at home, if you want to join us here on the Heartland Poker Tour, just why not give it a shot. Visit our website at hptpoker.com, and we crisscross the country all year long. People say, when do you start, when do you stop? Well, it pretty much goes all year long, and that's what I like most about the HPT. It's we have seasons, but they all kind of run together, and that's the way we like it. So check everything out at hptpoker.com.
Joe's starting to run good, back-to-back ace-king, this time suited.
It's not fair when the guy with the chips gets the cards, is it?
No.
I'm pretty jealous of your schedule, James. I know you're getting on that cruise ship this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I want to give a shout-out to Barry Brown, who checked in from the Michigan. Actually, he's down in New Orleans. He's from Michigan. He's going to be joining us on the cruise, but he's listening at home. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. Over 400 people are signed
makes
up
it
for
405,000.
Good crowd, and we got some fun places to go and play a little bit of poker.
Action over to Jacob with the small blind,
have
who
a
folds.
few drinks with umbrellas in them, and it should be a fun week.
Barry Brown just tweeted in. He said we're cooler than the other side, the downside of the pillow. So
Daniel lays it down.
Gotta love you, Barry.
Joe
Thanks.
is all in.
Oh yeah.
And Mike will fold.
I'm looking forward to
Joe will
bluffing
take
him
this
out of
pot.
a few hands coming up this week. He's an easy one.
Jacob's going to be the button in this hand.
I know what buttons.
Daniel will be the 30,000 small blind.
Well, we see Joe using the power of his stack.
Joe with the $60,000 big blind.
Mike played back at
Just
it,
under
Joe
10
had
minutes
an
remaining in this
opportunity
level
to take
of 30,000,
a nice little pop before
60,000.
the flop.
Vin's going to start under the
Craig,
gun this hand.
how do you switch gears when you get a little bored? You know, we've been playing for 3 years now, or three hours. Does that happen to you, where it's just kind of like, you know, you just haven't had a whole lot of hands, things are starting to drag a little bit? What do you do?
I get frustrated with poor hands, but I don't ever really get bored because you're 2 minutes away from the next hand, and you know, you never know when things are going to change. And when you've been playing long enough, you realize you could be really cold for a while, and then all of a sudden that special hand shows up and it catches you on fire. So it's just biding your time and waiting for it to happen. But you know, I have friends that say I'm the most impatient person they know, but how can I have any patience playing poker? It's just, I don't know. It's just, you have to have it, though. You have to have it.
Yeah, you sure do.
It's a special set of skills, like Liam Neeson.
And a lot of those energy drinks, I think those help
Vin
too.
to 125,000.
So Vin raises up to 135,000. Another hand we've seen a lot today are the pocket threes.
And that's tough. Blinds 30 and 60. Vin started the hand with just shy of $1 million in chips.
Back over to Daniel.
You know,
in the small
since
blind.
that first hand, when
Who
Stan hit
re-raises
this,
to
would have hit the set of eights, and
330,000.
the other fella hit the set of nines. Have we seen anybody hit a set?
You know, I was just about to bring that
I don't
up,
know, and there's
I-
been a lot of pairs.
There has. So a 3-bet now to 330,000, and yeah,
Vin's
Vin's gonna
gonna
have to
muck.
lay that down.
And
how many big blinds?
Daniel will take this pot.
He's down to 970,000 in chips, so he's got what about the blinds are 30 and 60.
Yeah.
So he's got about 15.
Crowd is standing after that scoop by Daniel.
Still playable. Very playable.
So Greg, when is your next HPT event that you'll be playing with us?
Skipping the cruise. Can't do that.
Can't swim, that's why you're
Yeah,
skipping
can't
the
swim.
cruise.
Don't trust you not to push me over the rail. And so probably, well, Colorado for sure. I try never to miss Colorado. I love that place. But and then we'll see either Belterra or Pittsburgh. One of the
Daniel will
other.
have the button
What
in
was
his
your
hand.
most memorable moment on the
Joe in the
HPT?
small
Was it
blind?
winning that first Colorado event? Would that be your?
You mean other than
Vin
getting
in
to
the
meet
big blind.
you?
Well, you know, I thought that went without saying, but
150,000.
Most memorable moment. Well, obviously, you know, you win an event or two. It's pretty memorable.
sure.
But I would say those things. The first time, you know, I'll be honest with you. I won the one in Colorado the first time. I'd only been playing for a year and a half. I knew it wasn't necessarily because I played well. I had a lot of good cards and things worked out. But when I got home and I saw my wife in the living
Joe
room, she
takes
turned
a wrong
around,
look.
you know, she looked at me
And
I
folds.
just started crying.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. So
Wow.
to me, I guess that was the most special
Sure,
time.
sure.
You'd only been playing
Then
for a year and a half,
Mux
but thanks
and
to
Beck
Bernard
will take
Lee,
the pot.
Yeah, right.
you had an opportunity to win.
Right.
Right. That's right. If he hadn't tackled me on my way out the door
Yeah.
and nailed my hands to the floor,
Yeah,
with,
drug you back in. You're like, no, I can't handle
Hey,
anymore.
I've only got 1/3 of a big
can't
blind.
do
Are you
it.
crazy? This is impossible.
I love you, Bernard Lee.
Oh,
Follow
yeah.
Bernard Lee on Poker at Bernard Lee Poker.
I remember when Bernard final tabled an event with us in New York. We were out at Turning Stone, and I was calling the floor, and I forget the hand, but he took a real bad beat. And he was very emotional, as Bernard is, in the exit interview. And
Beck will start
loves
this
his
hand
children,
under the
loves his
gun.
family, and good friend of
Facing
ours here on the
60,000.
HPT. So Bernard, if you're out there listening, make sure to stop by and see us. Come play another event. Get back to that HPT final table. But I know he did some commentating with you guys over at Windy City.
He did.
And did a great job. I mean, he knows poker better than a lot of the people I know. He's a smart guy, and I'm sure he's happy New England's in the Super Bowl.
I'm sure that he is. There's no question about that. Yeah, a great
Action
guy.
bin in the small blind who
A
calls.
supporter, certainly. He's come to Chicago a couple times for the Windy City Poker Championship. He first came into the public eye, of course, at that final at the deep run and the main event of the World
Mike
Series Poker a number of years
checks,
back.
and we will have a
And
flop.
I first met him in Chicago at one of the training schools.
The flop
that's
brings
not
3 of
around
diamonds,
anymore.
ace of diamonds,
And he
8 of
was-
clubs.
He was dropping a lot of knowledge
Then is first
back
to
then,
act.
and that's 10, 12 years ago.
And he, what did he finish that
Check
year
over
in
to Mike,
Maine, where he
who
went
checks.
on to
Turn card
all his
brings
success? Was he
Queen
like
of diamonds.
ninth? Was it 20th?
Maybe
14th?
14th,
Something
I
like
thought.
that, yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
thought too.
That was a fun time for poker, you know, when all that was breaking.
check over to Mike, who checks, and the river card.
And, you know, Bernard's really
card is
monetized
an
that
8 of
success,
hearts.
you know, with his work on
Action to
ESPN
bin.
and other TV shows and the column that he does and the blogging that he does. And, you know, besides that, he's a pretty darn good poker
Vin
player.
opens the betting ground
Got a
with
great
100,000.
podcast, the Bernard Lee Poker Show. So long as we're promoting our good friend Bernard today.
Bernard owes us a drink, I think.
I
Or,
think you're
you know, he
right.
owes us a steak dinner, perhaps.
It's a great show.
Last time I had a steak with him was at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, one of your places, Craig, that you took down a HPT title.
Yeah, that place. I don't think I ever even made day 2 for a couple years there, and then
Mike
all of a sudden,
raises
you know, I
to
ended up winning that. It was pretty
65,000.
special.
That was home of our championship open for many
Vin
years.
folds.
A lot of friends over there in the Michigan
Mike
area.
will scoop this
Johnny
one.
Q, actually, John Q is listening right now. A good friend of ours, former employee of that property, and just always had a lot of fun and good memories there. So that's the thing about the HPT. You know, it's one big family, and you know, when the original owners set up these trips, it was
Getting down
always
to the end of this
let's
level.
create kind of a
Got just
fishing
under
trip, a weekend
4
fishing
minutes
trip with
remaining.
your buddies, and maybe you go home
At
with
the
$100,000.
ante,
you know.
30,000,
Greg Lang and
60,000
Todd
level.
Anderson, the guys who really had the vision for
Button
this.
will be in seat
just
4
a couple
with
of
Vin this hand.
knuckleheads out of Fargo, North Dakota. Just kind of, they left the poker tournament. Both got knocked out. They're driving home, and Greg said, "We could do this. Let's put it on TV. Let's do it."
Why not?
Todd's got that Poker Night in America
Sure
going
does,
now,
yeah.
and I had the opportunity to fly to Vegas and play in that cash game with them last year.
How'd that go?
I got my brains beat in, actually. But, so when that airs in, I think, February
we
or
still get
March,
to see
yeah, you still get
it.
to see
Oh,
how
that's
bad it
right.
was. Got to
Action
play with
to Jacob
Jablonski.
in the
We've been trying to make a final
Yeah.
table together,
Raises
so
to
finally we
150,000.
got the opportunity to go and play that one.
When I think of one of our greatest memories of the old days is when we did a charity event. All of us went out to Las Vegas at the Golden Nugget, and Steve Martin played. We had Vern Troyer, Mini-Me, Hercules. The guy who played Hercules was there.
Vin makes
all
the call on
these
the
big-name
button.
celebrities. It was just so much fun. But a few of the guys played with Steve Martin. How we had Helmuth
Action to
there, and
Mike
Adrian
in
Peterson was
small
there.
blind.
But to be around a celebrity, a legend like Steve Martin, I actually got to interview him at the table. I mean, I was very nervous. It's Steve Martin, you know. It was very cool, and we raised a lot of money for a great charity, the Starkey Hearing Foundation. So a lot of fun.
It is amazing the names out there who enjoy poker and
Yeah.
play.
Mike
and
makes a
you
raise
get
to
meet.
540,000.
It's almost nonstop. Not to mention the players
545.
themselves.
Speaking of poker, look who's got pocket tens again
My
here.
God.
Are we going to see some action on this hand, guys? Already a raise there by Jacob, a 3-bet by Michael.
Well, I gotta
King,
think
queen
the
down.
flop's going to be pretty boring because
Brett
all the
folds
picture
in the
cards
back.
are already out.
Here comes the 2-7-4.
We may not have one.
The 3-bet by Michael to 545,000. that King 10 can really look raggy, guys, after a 3-bet.
Absolutely, especially when it's a 30 or stack.
Right. It's just not a premier hand. That's an easy fold. And Vin,
Jacob folds, Vin folds, and Mike will take down this pot.
That was a great spot for him to have pocket tens and be able to put in that bet.
Shove you call.
Everybody had a good but not great hand. And the hand before, we were talking about something else at that moment. But Mike made another great river call where Vin fired into him with a two-tone board with 3 diamonds on the board. And Mike was fortunate enough to make trips on the end, so he wanted to put the chips in there, but it was a little scary for a moment with the short stack firing into you, but made the right call. And now is on a heater once again. Got the kill pot and the button.
It is scary when it is scary when the short stack goes firing into you, though, because they just look so much stronger. And again, especially when it's not an all-in bet.
5 years ago, Craig, when we were still six-handed at the time, I remember we had 4 tournaments
Jacob
in a row.
will start this
Short
hand
stack
out of the gun.
went on to win the event.
Wow.
Short stack came from
folds over to
from
Daniel.
a seller to winning the thing, so it's pretty cool.
It's how it can change in poker in an instant. You just don't know.
You talk about the friendships and stuff that we've
Daniel, Joe, and
gotten to
Ben
know people here, and then you think of past
action
champions.
to Mike on the button,
guys
who
like
raises
Matt
to
Mason and
130,000.
Jason Fennell, and there's so many names out there of
Breck
people
makes
that
the
we've
call.
really gotten to know. And back in my old job, I was, as you know, the sideline reporter. So I was with these guys the night before.
Nick lays down, and we'll have 2 players
the interviews
to the flop.
I was living and breathing it. I love my new job here because I get to sit down.
Sure.
But boy, if someone had just
Flop is
asked
10
me
of
the question,
clubs,
what do you like
king
most
of
about the
clubs,
HPT?
queen of
It's
hearts.
getting to meet all these great people.
Breck is first to act.
Really
He checks over to Mike
great,
on
and
the
they're the
button.
sorts of relationships that last for a long time.
Absolutely.
You can spend one day with somebody, and 8 or 10 years later, you still have that connection.
Yeah, and some of these people now are my best friends in
Mike
life.
bets
through
100,000.
Poker. I remember celebrating my birthday at the Commerce Casino a few years ago, and I was a little bummed out. I was in LA, but I was away from
Breck
home.
makes
I
the
looked at
call,
my phone,
and we will have our
10
turn card.
messages. Everybody that had wished me happy birthday, all
Turn card
all
brings
the
us 7 of hearts.
Pretty cool.
Cool.
That's my life. And I remember Matt Savage brought me a birthday cake that day. Matt, thank you for that, Matt Savage.
Breck makes a bet of 225,000. Mike lays down, and Breck will take this pot.
Was on our
That
show.
was the last
And I got to
hand of
spend
that
a
level.
bit of time with Jerry and talk to him a little bit about his business and about his kids. And
Blinds
and
will
a
now
couple of
be
years after that,
40,000,
our family
80,000
has a
with
cabin
a
in Smoky
$10,000
Mountain,
ante.
Tennessee. We were driving up to the cabin. We were just about to lose phone service, and my phone beeps, and I get a text message that says "Happy Birthday," and it's from Jerry Yang.
Very cool.
40,000,
And it's
80,000
Thanksgiving
to
morning,
begin
and I
this
text
level.
back and I say, "Oh, Jerry, this is Jason from Chicago.
Right.
It's not my birthday, but thanks for
Button
thinking
will
of
be
me
in
anyway."
the
And he said, "Oh, I meant
sixth
Happy
seat with
Thanksgiving." Simple mistake.
Yeah, Jerry Yang, another gentleman who's played on the HPT a couple of times, and we had some stops up in California. I really missed that Fresno stop, Craig.
Yeah,
had
that
a
was
lot of
great-
fun out
great
there.
Great place. Well, your family room, James, must be like wallpapered in pictures between your radio show and the poker world. You're always out there in the Twitter sphere with pictures of
A lot
all
of
these
fun.
famous
Yeah,
people
it's
you
a
get
lot
to
of
meet.
fun. It's a lot of fun, Craig. It's definitely a lot of fun. Joe's gonna fold. Vin here now with Ace Jack. Is this gonna be the hand?
No, man.
It's the hand.
Yes, it is.
We're gonna
Vin
get them
pushes all
in
in.
the middle. Over to Michael now with Jack 10. He's not feeling it. Can the Ace 10 of Breck look him up? And look at that behind him. Nick's got the HPT special. So
For 190,000.
No.
will Vin get a call?
590,000, excuse me.
They're reconciling the chips there, Craig, is what
Yep.
they're doing. Who makes the call? Either of these guys?
I think they both could just call, try to get somebody out.
Yeah, gang
you know,
up
I mean,
and,
for 550,000, but Nick's got more chips. He's more apt to be able to do it than Breck. If Nick calls, I think Breck will lay it down.
And they still got Jake in the big blind, and he's got a bunch of chips as well. So that's that tricky spot where
Yep.
do you fold, do you call, or do you raise?
Breck makes the call.
Okay, well look at this.
Oh, wow.
So some 7 snuck in there too, Jay.
Action over
Certainly makes
to
Nick's fold
Jacob
easier.
in the big blind.
I'm not a big fan of 7s in this position myself, Craig.
No,
I'm
no.
just not.
No. No, if you're not crushed already 80-20%, you know,
gonna make
there's
the
a good
call.
chance you're gonna.
Jacob pushes all in.
Oh, he's all in, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, he's trying
All
to
in.
he's trying to isolate.
Wow. Yeah, it reminds me of a play Jeremy Smith did years ago. He did it with 7 deuce, though, our tournament director.
You mean the Towering Inferno?
He's behind us here, so I had to give him a hard time. So Jacob goes all in for
C6 going to P.
Well, I'll tell you, this is a super strong move.
Over
here,
now.
but especially with 2 guys ahead of you here.
Now, if you're Breck, what's going through your mind?
I'm thinking fold instantly.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Jacob pushes all in for 1,540,000.
And now
Jacob did it to isolate, obviously, but you know he must have had a read that Breck wasn't all that strong, and so we'll see what happens.
You saw Breck actually. He really struggled with the decision, and it seemed like a genuine struggle. He was rubbing his brow, and when you and Craig, you've spent enough time staring people in the face that when you see, you can tell the wrinkles on their brow, whether they're real or whether they're made up most of the time.
Yeah, sometimes they're acting trying to entice you into it, but you're right about the shoulder thing and a few other things. I mean, if they're agonizing, you can tell they're really agonizing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, but that's part of the read. You know, that's part of the feel you get for the game, and that's like James said earlier. You only get that by playing and experiencing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had a great opportunity years ago to talk with and spend a little time with Joe Navarro, who's talked a little bit about tells, and Zach Elwood out west, who's just I think in the process of publishing another book on that topic, and it's really insightful when you're sitting here with the benefit of the whole cards, and it's cost me a lot of money when sitting at the table.
I can't imagine what Breck is thinking about all this time. I really can't.
Well, he's thinking about possibly putting in 995,000.
I know,
but I don't think he can.
But no, I don't know how he thinks Ace-10 might be best here. I mean, he's not giving Vin a lot of credit for a big hand because of his stack, but for Jacob to go back over the top, all in, it's like
he's really seriously considering.
I think he's going to make the call.
I don't know.
And Jake is nervous.
I think he's going to change his mind.
It's going in.
Jake's going, if he makes the call here, he could have 8s, 9s, 10s.
He's making it. There you go.
Breck makes the call. We will have a side pot of 1 point.
Well, with 2 guys having aces tied up, I think Jake's more worried about a jack or a
Side pot of 1.9 mil.
Well, Jacob's in the lead, guys. He's got the 7s.
Jacob turns over pocket 7s with a 7 of spades
Ace, jack,
and a 7 of hearts. Vin has ace jack, ace of diamonds, jack of hearts, and Breck turns over ace-10 with an ace of spades, 10 of
Breck
clubs.
made that call.
Yeah, I am too.
Vin standing up.
That's a lot of his chips.
It sure is on ace-10 here.
This holds up for Jacob. Boy, he's going to have quite the lead, and with his skill level, it'll be tough to overcome.
All right, well, we go to the flop, and we'll find out here in just a couple of minutes what's going to happen. There's Jeremy Smith, our tournament director. By the way, I was joking around about him. He's such a valuable member of our team. And, never complains. He's always out there, and he's got the job of always standing on his feet. He's 7'2", and he's the pride of Chicago, Illinois.
It's fun to give Jerry a
All right, we will have a flop.
He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Well, I'll tell you, it's going to be hard to do, but we could have a double knockout here if
Sure
Breck
could.
ends up hitting his 10.
Looks like the flop, if that is accurate.
It's a good flop for Jake.
Couple of deuces and a 5.
Flop comes 2 of clubs, 2 of hearts,
Put a 4 for
5 of
a
hearts.
4 for a
Sevens
flat.
are still in the lead.
Black 4, don't be greedy.
Turn card comes.
A glutton for punishment.
Okay, it's the king
Turn
of
card
clubs.
brings
So
the
break
king
it
of
down for
clubs.
us, Jay, here.
Jacob
Sevens
is still in
are
the lead
still
with
in the
pocket
lead.
sevens.
Jake,
He'll need to
82% chance
avoid
to win.
aces, jack,
Vin needs an ace or a
10,
jack.
and the river card.
River card is the jack of
River
clubs.
card brings a jack of
Vin
clubs, and
takes it
Vin
with
will
the
win
jack.
the main pot.
Get a rebate here.
Another river crushing card. The one happened to
Unbelievable.
stand
Jacob
on
in
the
the
ice
side pot.
earlier, and Jake's sitting there thinking he's in great shape. Now he's on life support almost.
So Vin literally tripling up with that river jack.
My God.
So Breck gets hurt the worst, right?
Yeah. Well, no, both of them.
Wow,
Both of them.
unbelievable. Big
He and
hand
Jacob
here.
are both hurt.
Are both hurt on that
Vin
hand.
will win this pot
As
of
you're
the night
watching
so
this
far.
exclusive broadcast here, it's James Larson alongside Jason and Craig, and we were kind of waiting for a hand like that. You know, we were kind of sitting around telling old stories, and then all of a sudden, boom, we got some fireworks with that big hand there.
It's a brutal game. It's a brutal game.
It's such a boon for
Yeah,
Vin.
that
He's made a
pot
couple
will
of-
bring you out of your
couple of,
seat,
efforts
folks.
at picking up a pot.
We've got 52 minutes remaining in the level.
I wanted to pull
Play back to him every time.
40,000, 80,000. Button in seat number 9.
Slight underdog.
Joe will be under the gun this hand.
And he rivers it.
And he rivers it. It's never easy.
It's poker.
So Vin back up to 1.8 million.
I was hoping the other end of
chips.
the spectrum we took that line like
Feeling a
sixes
little bit
one
more
time.
comfortable now.
There's a guy here on the feed, Ryan Greger KC,
Same
and
difference,
he
yeah.
asks, Craig Casino, do you have any tips on becoming an HPT champion? I think that's the Ryan Greger we all know and love. I have a feeling. He likes to needle you a little bit.
He's player of the year. What's he asking me
He
for?
likes.
I've never been player of the year.
He's got a vested interest.
He wants to start beating your records. He's told us that.
I know,
He
I
wants
know.
to take you down. A little friendly rivalry or unfriendly rivalry, depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I'm like Stan in that
Nick
regard.
makes
I've come in
a
second for
raise
player of the year
to
twice.
160,000.
That's tough. I mean, that hurts. You know, you get that close. One time it was 5 points away.
Oh,
Thousands of points, 5 points away.
And there's a lot on the line for player of the year, not just
Yeah.
the bragging
Oh, no.
rights, but
Yeah.
everything that goes along with it, the buy-ins.
6 free buy-ins and
Yeah, it's
you know,
huge.
accommodations and
It's huge.
travel at those places. Yeah,
Craig,
it's great.
where do you draw the line as far as bullets in an event? Do you set a number? Is there a magic number? Or again, is that based off feel?
Yeah, it's based off feel. I mean, again, I said earlier, success can breed success, but it also gives you a little more freedom to
Sure.
play. So I'm way ahead of the game, you know, for that. And because
Daniel
I
makes the
don't
call. Will be
have a
heads up
home
to the
game, I
flop.
don't go to Vegas all the time. I only play like 3 World Series events every year. I don't go to the World Poker Tour. I don't go to mid-states. You know, I'm just playing Heartlands, and you know, I try to
Flop
make
is king of
67%
clubs,
of
5 of
them.
diamonds,
So
ace of
that's
diamonds.
my game. That's what I do. So if
Daniel will be
I've
first
used
to act.
as many as 6 twice, I think, but it's usually I think
checks over
I
to Nick on
figured
the
it out
button.
one time. I'm at like 2.3 average.
Nick will
And I don't
open the
think
betting
that's too
round
bad,
with
you know.
$180,000.
The nice thing was the
bet.
first re-entry event that you had in Colorado, that was the one I won.
Wow.
That was on the 3rd bullet on the last day. So got lucky.
The 2.3 looks really, really good if you compare it against, say, Aaron Massey, right?
Well, I don't
Daniel will
know
call.
what Aaron does. I don't
And
know
we
what
will
those
have a
guys
turn
do.
card.
Gotta give Aaron a little bit of love.
Turn
Turn
is
card here
5
is
of
the
hearts.
five.
He'll appreciate
Hearts.
hearing that, though, Jason.
Had a lot of fun at the final table when Aaron defeated
Daniel
Danny
checks.
Gonzalez, first
Yeah.
and second place. Man, that was one of the first shows I ever called. That was alongside Maria Ho for those. And man, that was just exciting poker.
Danny's a character.
Oh,
He is.
Danny's good
Nick
for the
makes a
game.
bet
They're
of
both good for the game.
350,000.
You know, they both have a little bit of that villain side to them, you know, but I love it, you know.
Yeah, they had a little other family issue between them, I think, before the game
Oh,
even
yeah.
started.
In Colorado,
And,
there was a little bit of an
yeah,
outburst.
and so
I saw.
they kind of fought it out there. But, you know, you got to respect Aaron because he
Daniel calls.
he kept it under control and he didn't
And
let
we
it
will
get
have
under his
a
skin.
river
He
card.
didn't- He didn't let it tilt him. And
River brings the
that was
9 of
obvious.
spades.
River card, 9 of spades.
And that gives Nick a piece.
Yeah, Daniel with the check mark over
Daniel
his ace.
checks.
Aces and 5s. 9s and 5s for Nick.
Nick checks.
And Nick says, now I have something to show. I
Oh,
better
Daniel turns over ace of clubs, 4 of spades for 2 pair, aces and 5s.
Daniel will take
And
this
he
one
will win
down.
this hand.
All the pots pretty good size at this point, almost 800,000 chips in that pot. Yeah, Aaron and I played together in home games before either of us ever was allowed to play out of the house. Maybe not quite that far back. We've known each other for a long time. And you could always see with Aaron, just a really focused, really disciplined sort of player. Always knew that he was going to be going to have the success that he did, or always expected him to anyway. And his brother following his lead, his big brother.
Sure
following
is.
his
Yeah,
Yep.
he sure is. Great to see those guys out playing on the circuit, and he was having some success this weekend. So we'll try to get an update on that as we continue action here. Over to Vin.
It'd be a little nicer having someone to travel with all the time, too. He and his brother
Absolutely.
travel almost everywhere
Yeah.
together. So having someone to talk to and just, you know, instead of traveling alone
Yeah,
makes
and
a
they
difference.
get along. They get along. My
Yeah.
brother and I, we wouldn't travel so well.
Action over to Breck, who pushes all in.
Okay, so Breck's all in with that HPT special, the King Queen.
I love it when
Double on.
Kathleen's dealing. She's so
That means they
friendly.
pay me
She's
no
so
rent,
nice.
right?
She's just a nice person.
Those are the dealers I usually don't have the best of luck with.
Yeah, that's all right. Then at least they're smiling
I
at you
know,
when
yeah,
they
exactly.
kill you.
Action on the Daniel in the small blind who folds.
Yeah, yeah.
So good too.
We actually played a
Joe
little
makes the
cash
call,
last night.
and we will see cards.
Joe's going to make the call here.
Joe
Wow,
turns
look
over
at
a
that.
king
Wakes
of
up with
Cowboys and a
kings
king of
against
spades.
king.
Cowboys. This could be it for Breck.
Breck turns over king of clubs.
King, queen, going up
Queen
against
of
those pocket
spades.
kings. Joe in the lead. Breck all in for his tournament life.
In a desperate situation.
All in is just over 950,000.
Jack 10
Yeah,
first spot.
94.
But how many times have we
I'm
seen
playing D. No offense.
Well, especially calling these final tables. Just
Yep.
when you think you're
We'll
going
have
to
a
lose a
flop.
couple of players, they double up and they double up.
4 clubs or the 9-10 jack?
Flop
Nope.
is ace,
Flop brings a 9 of clubs, ace of diamonds, 5 of hearts.
Joseph running cards
No
potentially
help
here
to
for
Breck.
Breck to make a straight.
And the turn
Otherwise,
card.
He's going to need a whole lot of help. Otherwise, he's going to be eliminated. That's one of
Turn
those
card
cards
is
I
a
was
jack of
talking about.
hearts.
The jack
Look
of
at that.
hearts.
Jumps
So
up to
Breck has
8%.
just picked up a
jumped
straight
way
draw.
up to 8%, didn't it?
One of the 10s is dead.
And the river card.
10 of
Let's
diamonds
go to
was
that
folded
river
pre-flop.
card. It's the
The
deuce
river
of
card
clubs.
brings a 2 of
That
clubs,
is going to
and
do
we
it.
will
But
have an
Joseph,
elimination.
the hand Breck is going to be eliminated.
Breck will take 7th place in our HPT main event.
That's bad, man.
And for his
Going to be
payday,
taking home
25,388
$25,388. Once again, that's
Just like
Breck
that, we are
with
down to our
7th
final
place.
6. We talked about this before. That's the way we used to do it here on the HPT. It was always 6 players. That's all I remember. You know, when I first started. And 6, I like 6-handed poker because everything changes a little bit now for 9, and we see hand ranges open up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We expect a lot more action, a lot more play back at one another. And with the stack sizes the way they are, the blinds going up, then the players can't afford to wait around. So it's a great spot to see some real action.
The game's a lot more interesting when people are playing weaker hands, what their thought process is, and just where they think they are within the hand. You know, it's more interesting to me.
I talk about it a lot on the show, guys. You know, when we start getting down to 3, 4-handed, 3-handed, and heads up, you know, for some players, including myself, how much experience do you have playing 3-handed? How much heads-up experience do you have? And there's a lot of different ways to practice with that. You know, you can play with your friends.
Blinds are 40,000, 80,000. Mike is under the gun and opens with a raise of 180,000.
Something you've never done before, potentially, and on national TV, and for a 6-figure payday.
That's where the live stream has made poker, you know, so much better because guys are learning how to play heads up and 3-handed and 4-handed because they can see it almost any time they want to, see what the real name pros are doing and how
Action
they're
over
doing
to
it.
Joe
So when you
in the
won
small
Colorado and you were heads up,
makes the call.
How much heads up experience did you had before that?
None.
None. 0. Exactly.
None.
Exactly.
So.
And we've seen that in other tournaments, other events, where you can just kind of tell.
Back
I'm
over
a
to
fish
Vin
out of
with
water.
the big
You know, I'm
blind
not trying
who
to
folds.
give the players a hard
We
time.
will
But
have
it's
2
like you
players
can tell maybe this is the first
on the
time
flop.
they've played heads up. You know, and there's a you could write an entire book about just the
Flop
heads up.
brings a 3 of hearts.
Well, it was kind
9
of easy for me
clubs,
because I had a
Jack
big
of
chip
spades.
lead heads up.
You were a luck box
Joe's
over.
first
All
place.
you had to do was sit back and throw
He
chips
checks.
in the middle, and we gave you a
Mike
bunch
checks.
of cash at the end of the day.
That's pretty much true. But no, I ended up winning that with pocket
Turn is a
jacks.
4 of
Is that what it
spades.
was?
So, yeah, I ended
Oh.
up against Mary Flurkey. Side pocket jacks. So
Oh,
it's
Mary.
we were talking about the jacks earlier. How do you play them? Well, that time they worked.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so the deuce is here for Joe.
Joe checks
No
over to
luck.
Mike, who bets
Well, he's ahead.
275,000.
Because the jack was flopped for Mike. So Michael's going to go ahead and bet 275,000.
You talk about opening it up when you're 6-handed.
Joe takes a peek,
Mike was right under
but
the
lays
gun with
down.
his
Mike will
jack,
take this pot.
And raised. Joe defended his small blind with the small pocket pairs.
Can somebody tell Puccio to sit down? He got enough airtime when he won this thing 2 years ago. He's always trying to be the center of attention. At least he's out of the beers so far. I think he's on the water today, so that's good.
Yeah, he's usually back there in Foxy, Steve Fox.
Yep, Steve Fox, who had to.
He'll hang around and watch.
Yeah, Fox is taking off so he can get back to
80, right?
get
like
packed
a
up for a
speculative
cruise this
intonation
weekend.
of
The
his tone.
HPT
Yeah, a
cruise,
little bit.
Freedom of the Seas, Harmony of the Seas.
We're to the 43-minute mark remaining
one of those,
in this
right, Craig?
$40,000, $80,000 level.
I wouldn't do the cruise
Annie's
without
are
my
still
wife going along,
10,000.
and she's not big on.
Joe is going
boats
to start
at
with the
night
button this
in the
hand.
ocean. She's just something
It's
about looking out at all that black
I'll
water.
be honest,
you know?
it's yeah, that first year it was a little weird, you know, but no, seriously, folks, if you're ever thinking about doing it, it's a whole lot of fun.
Trying to earn
And,
some money for 'em.
Jan Fisher and Linda put on just a great event. It's a great week at
Got
sea.
folding
Maybe
action
I'll
over to
chop
Joe
her into
on
the
the button.
boat just for the day or two that it'll take to play the tournament.
Yeah,
and
there
chop
you
her
go.
out of there.
Raise
Just
to
meet us halfway. Meet us in
175,000.
Jamaica, all
There you
right?
go.
I'll buy the first round.
Okay.
I'd like to get on one of those cruises myself. I haven't been on one yet either.
It's a whole lot of fun.
I have to talk my wife into it, and then somebody's got to watch our kids. So
Right, yeah.
James, if you're going to sit one out and maybe
Yeah,
sit.
I'll hang out here in the Chicagoland. Aaron Massey and I will come over,
Oh,
and Ralph will watch the kids.
Hashtag Stallone.
All right, Vin here with a real hand.
Action over to Vin in the small blind, who pushes all
He's
in.
all in with his pocket nines. Michael's going to get out of the way.
And we don't
Mike
know
lays
what
down
Joe
the big
has.
blind. And Joe concedes.
Joe's going to fold.
Not
Vin
enough.
takes the pot.
How many times have we seen pocket nines today? 4?
Quite a few, but not as much as the threes or the kings.
Threes, kings,
And Mike with the
tens,
tens.
nines,
Yeah,
deuces.
tens.
Deuces. We've seen deuces a lot. Aces twice. We lost. Get somebody eliminated, jamming into ace. Queens. It was Jerry. Jerry jammed his queens into aces.
I don't know what these two gentlemen are discussing, but
Perhaps where they're going to go for lunch. Lunch break's coming up.
yeah,
Getting kind of
looked
hungry.
a little
thinking about
annoyed for a minute, but I'm not sure.
it. You guys ever seen a fight at the poker table before? A fist fight break out?
Yes, I was. It was. I was at the. I was at the.
Why is it going
now
to start out at
defunct,
48,000,
poker room at the,
80,000?
Hard Rock
Connection
Casino in
to
Las
Jacob
Vegas
under
a
the
few
gun.
years back, and they were hosting a
Folds
charity
over
poker
to
tournament.
Wow.
And at the table behind me, a guy got up, had some words with another player
Joe
at the table.
will raise to
and punched him square in the
175,000.
face.
No kidding.
Got dragged out of the casino. I later found
Unbelievable.
out
Dad takes a
they were
gander and
coworkers
mucks.
Wow.
playing together in a charity
Oh
poker
my
tournament.
gosh.
So that happens from time to time.
With me, there's only one thing that bothers me, and my best of friends know this, just you don't slow roll me. And one of my good friends slow rolled me, Scotter, you know Scotter, and I picked up that card and I threw it so hard and almost cut him right in the eye. I was so mad at him. You know, it's kind of like Fonzie. You can't call Fonzie.
Mike in the small blind,
say Fonzie's
re-raises
scared.
to 575,000.
And I'm the same way. You don't slow roll me. I get very angry.
Nick
I
folds
haven't
the big
punched
blind.
anybody, though.
Well, who is it? Chris
Action
Ferguson
back over
who
to
throws
Joe.
the cards and cuts
Yeah,
carrots in
right,
half?
yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
you never know.
Speaking of Chris Ferguson, we kind of have a
Yeah,
lookalike.
no
here.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get this man a hat.
Yeah, right.
Well, Chris, a little bit more tightly cropped these days.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit at the World Series.
Yeah. An appearance or two.
Do you miss online poker, Jason?
I do a bit. I do a bit. It always made me a little bit anxious. There's too many opportunities for, for things to go on.
Joe
that you
takes a
can't
long
see.
look, but lays down.
So that
Mike
always
will
made
take
me
the
a little
pot.
anxious when I played, but I certainly
And
miss
the
the
button.
ease of being able to squeeze in a couple of sit and goes over a lunch break. Or
Do you ever play any of these backdoor sites? I mean, is
I don't, and that's 100% honest. I just
sure, yeah. And they're out there, but you know, I miss it. Those were always fun. Saturday nights playing those $65 tournaments. You know, you got a lot of value out of it. Play it for 4 or 5 hours. You know, if you go deep, a nice payday. And you know, Poker Stars is what was my game of choice, and just had a lot of fun playing it. You know?
For sure. For sure. I played in a 10,000 player free roll for a main event seat one
Wow.
year and had the most unbelievable run of cards. I won the first 10-handed table in 20 hands.
Wow.
And then I kept falling asleep while waiting for the next table if it was a shootout. So you had to wait for all the tables to finish. I kept falling asleep and waking up. And bested second.
Nick will
just
make a
before
raise to
making the,
190,000
final table, which would
in
have
the small
guaranteed me a seat.
The old small blind, big blind battle.
There you go. So we are
Jacob lays this down.
here at the final table of the main
Sure
event of the Heartland Poker Tour and Ameristar Casino in East Chicago.
And Nick
we
will
had
take
a
the pot.
6-handed event earlier in the week, and I want to give a quick shout out
Still
to
at 40,000, 80,000.
Miller, a Chicago guy. Today is his birthday.
Oh wow.
Nick
and
has
he
the
beat
button.
one of his best friends, James
Jacob
Battaglia,
small
in
blind,
second
Daniel
place,
big blind.
James the Ninja.
Oh yeah.
Joe will be under the gun this
I'm on
hand.
that Grinders site.
you go,
They
yeah.
put me on there, so I see all their pictures, and he said hashtag Mad Ninja, and I'm leaving, and a picture of him laying on the ground. I saw that.
Sam's such a great guy. He's always smiling. He's always in a good mood. You know, he just loves the game. He's
True
he's
fan
so
of the
so enthusiastic about it. It's nice to be around him.
Absolutely. Yeah, and a young guy too. I think this past year was his first year out in Las Vegas in June and July, and he was walking around with a huge grin on his face.
Yeah.
And there it is. That's the hand I was telling you guys
Action
about.
over to
That I
Mike.
lose all my money with.
The old
Feeling
9-7.
quite
Craig, what
groggy,
do you
makes a
play? Is it
raise to
5-4?
185,000.
Any
You need
connector at the
you need 2
situations,
cards.
right?
I mean,
I have to choose.
Any connector, suited
This
connector,
is
one
Craig,
gappers, 2 gappers,
this
3
is Craig
gappers.
Casino here, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, if you've got 7 jack, it could come 8, 9, 10. You never know.
Hey, you never know. You never know. You would love PLO8. We need to get you. We need to get you splashing around that game.
I play about
if
as much
he played that,
poker.
he'd play every hand. That's the problem. You'd play every hand.
That's why you
Jacob
want me
folds,
there.
Daniel folds.
Yeah, exactly. Let's
Mike will
play
take
on the
this
break.
And Mike takes it down with the unnatural destroyer, as I like to call it.
Yeah, the old 9-7. My favorite raggy hand is the King Deuce. Just always had luck with that when I could rip with it, or I'm in the big blind with it. King Deuce is just, you know, we have that on the sheet. What's your favorite hand? And I always think that's such a ridiculous question. Well, aces, you know, duh, aces, kings. But I think we should change that to what's your favorite raggy hand? Because we all have one that just kind of, you know, is luck. Just like me with kings. I don't prefer kings over aces, but I always run pretty well when I got 2 kings in my hand. You know, there's never a doubt with me when I got the kings. I feel like I'm at like 90%, but we all know aces. You know, those can get cracked. And, you know, it's just a pair. So when you get cracked by aces, everybody's like, "Oh my God, you'll never guess what happened."
Action
well, it
back
happens.
over to Mike, who raises
Guy
to
made 2 pair. You
185,000.
know, it happens.
And with the kings, you don't feel invulnerable.
Exactly. That's. I think
Nick
that's what it
folds.
is.
Every tournament. Oh, there's the aces
What
again.
is that?
Oh,
Every day of every tournament I play, the first time I get 10-6 suited, I play it because it's my birthday, 10-6.
Oh, sure.
And I've had so much luck with it. And people go, "Who the hell plays 10-6?" You
I
know,
don't.
it's like, well, you know
folds
what?
on the
Then I got to
button.
tell them it's my birthday. I did it the
Yeah.
other day. I won a hand.
He's got a line for every hand. Why'd you
Oh,
play
what?
A3?
No, no,
well,
no.
It's, my dog was born.
I
on
have
the
been known to
8th.
do it with 10-4 because I used to be a cop.
Yeah, that's true.
440,000
All right,
in
back
the
to the
small blind.
action here. Daniel with the aces.
Joe folds.
Joseph folds.
Action
We're
back
gonna
over
get
to
the
Mike.
action out of Michael. Michael's feeling good.
Got a fun
He's
hand.
running well. It's a fun hand. It's suited.
And again, Daniel had a huge smile on his face. I think he was laughing before he looked at his cards.
Yeah, I think it was too. But
But everybody that doesn't play poker always asks about the poker face. Rachel, do you have a good poker face? And Daniel smiling.
you know, when you raise with when you 3-bet with the aces, there. I mean, if the other guy wakes up with queens or kings, you're going to get a bunch of chips. But
Yeah.
if he doesn't, I mean, it's nothing wrong with taking chips when you can get them. But boy, I sure like limping
Good
those
point.
once
Yeah,
in a while.
that's a good point. Craig, how much of your game is reading your opponent? And I'm going to guess not a ton, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, not a ton. I'm more pay attention to the situations
Yeah.
and thinking about what they're thinking. What are they making out of what has just happened at the table, or what I've done, or what I've been doing. Mostly that. You pay attention to the players, though. But I can't remember all this stuff like Joe Navarro writes in his books.
Yeah.
I mean, he writes so much stuff. You can't keep it all straight. I can't anyway.
And
But
you're a guy, I've seen you do it, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, you've even paid off a few streets to get some information out.
Oh yeah, I did.
Mike
when I
Folds
won
and Daniel
Sony Eagle,
take down
I
this
did it a
spot.
couple times, and you defended me because.
Well, it's easy for commentators to say, you know, WTF. What are you doing
Well,
there, guy?
yeah, you're. You defended me in that case because you said, "Well, hey, it's Craig Casino." You know, everybody's wondering. There's 3 overcards to your pair on the board and 3
call it pointing
to a
top.
suit and a possible
And that's
straight.
all
What are
we're
you calling
referring to it as in this
300,000
case.
chips for? With it, I really was calling for information. I had the chips to do it. I wanted to know
Needles
what
are
kind of
flying.
hands is
What's
he
it-
opening
what
with
did he
now.
have?
Because earlier with more players, he was playing more snugly, and I needed to see, is he opening his range a little bit. So yeah, I do that.
Button will start
And, you
in
know,
Toss the
seat,
chips in with one
seat
hand
number
and you've
2
got the
with
cards
Daniel.
ready to drop.
Oh, right, yeah, exactly. And you know, what is a hero call? A hero
Mike folds
call
on the gun
isn't
over
a
to
hero
Nick, who
call.
makes a raise to
until you win the
210,000.
hands,
Yeah,
right? No,
yeah.
I mean, a hero call.
Other
Well, yeah.
than that, it's why the hell did he make
Yeah,
that call?
kind of,
I like to
yeah.
call that a victim call.
Yeah, right.
No, I mean, there's always a slight chance you're right. You know, I mean, you still might have 5, 6, 7% chance that you're right and he missed completely. But you know, I knew in 2 instances in that tournament that I made calls at the TV table just to get information.
Do you look for patterns with your opponents? Betting
No,
patterns?
I do, but my memory is such that I can't remember.
Yeah, I know.
I can't.
You ought to just
I
write
can't-
it down. You ought to just bring
Yeah,
a
I
little
know.
pad and a paper.
So
Did you fold? What did you have there?
Joe makes the call.
Took notes and
I-
sat
you know,
there and
I-
looked at him.
Vin
It's
folds.
disconcerting. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Two players. To the flop.
I haven't seen a lot of those guys at final tables though,
Yeah.
and that's where I
Flop
spend a lot of
brings
my
a queen
time
of
not
clubs,
playing, but
10 of
watching.
diamonds,
Flop is
7
queen
of
10,
hearts.
7. It's a rainbow.
Joe's first to act.
Joseph with the wild cards.
I'd like to see the whole rail filled up with post-it
Yeah,
notes. Of,
Yeah,
You know,
I see it at the baccarat table a lot.
Right.
You know, we are not seeing Joe's cards so
And
often.
checks over to
and
Nick,
I'm
who
kind of
bets
wondering if he's not doing it
325,000.
on purpose. So the people
Well,
he
and
has
we'll
to
have to
play
ask-
against in Vegas, you know, can't figure out how he's playing his hands. I mean, it's just he's like the most consistent one for us not knowing what he's got there.
Gutter ball here for Nick. Well, what do you guys feel about people coaching people from the stream that are at the table, maybe on breaks
Joe,
and things
smooth
like
calls?
that? Do you think,
We will have a
Jay,
turn.
is that fair?
Yeah, you know, I think all else being equal, look at
Turn
that.
is the king of
He
hearts.
does make his hand.
I think all else being equal, I
Joe
would
checks.
certainly prefer that wasn't an option, but it's such a great benefit for the game that people can watch live, that people can, you know, can sit at work or can sit at home and see their friends or the people that they enjoy watching playing
Nick
live.
makes a
And I
wager
think
of
that's sort of the
450,000.
game. It's unfair in the sense that not everybody has somebody railing them as they're watching it.
And I think sometimes that doesn't always benefit you. It's like, I think you need to maybe keep your head in the game to what instead all of a sudden you got your buddies saying, all right, well, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. Because I think, and I gamble like you do. I do it with feel. If you're at a blackjack game, you don't hit every 16. If the 4 cards in front of you are 10s, you may hit that because the odds of a
Joe
5
makes
or
the
a
call.
4
You
coming
remember
are
me
better.
telling you that, and the reason it's stuck in your mind
We
is
will
because
have
I
a river
realize you
card.
probably do the same thing.
That's exactly. And then
River, 5
there's
of
the 5
clubs.
right there. That's 21. But yeah, I think a lot of it is feel, and when you're in the zone, Craig, you know, when you're feeling it. I mean, you literally do get into a zone. We've all been there. You know, I've won smaller tournaments, and everything just starts working, and you just your mind is clear, and you're just starting to make good decisions. And
and when
those
things
are
are
when the
running
hero
bad,
calls.
the opposite happens.
Absolutely,
You make
absolutely.
the wrong decisions because
Yeah.
you're pressing.
Absolutely. You know, it's good to read the book, and it's good to play by the book, especially in the long term. But you know, these guys are here to do battle today, and they have to do what it takes to win this event right here, right now.
Who bets
I like the
1
time
million?
he took to make that bet, and he's hoping he's got 2 pair. He's hoping Joe's got 2 pair on that board.
And we just don't know, do we?
Nope.
And the great thing about this spot for Nick is that he raised pre-flop. He fired a continuation bet on the flop, and then he made his hand on the turn. So it's so hard when you're the opponent in that spot to know what's going on and what happened.
Can we please get these guys some chairs in the background? Everybody seems to want to stand. I want to thank our marketing director, Corey Stewart, for all his help this week. Corey's a huge part of the team here at the HPT, and I want to thank him for helping us out this entire week here at the Ameristar Casino Hotel, East Chicago. And he's going to make the call. The call is made. Are we going to get to see his hand?
Nick turns over ace jack
King
for
something. He had 2
Broadway.
It was
pair.
King Queen, I
He
think.
might have had King Queen or King 10.
It looked like King Queen.
The
Wow.
way that hand played out, if he had King Queen with that flop, he was playing his he was playing his hand deceptively.
And I
And
make that.
he-
Yeah, it was King Queen. I make
Yeah.
that call.
Yeah.
It was that
Nick will
first
scoop this
million
pot
chip
with
river. It might have been-
ace high
that was a
straight.
Big pot.
Yeah.
Over
Big
4
pot.
million chips.
So what does that leave? What does that do to Joe then?
2 million left.
was
It
half
jumped
of his
Nick
stack.
way
Half
up
his
there.
stack, yeah. Wow, it just takes one big hand like that.
Absolutely. Nick adds 2.1 million chips to his stack. He's up to almost 50 chips.
So Craig, how do you recover? Not recover, but how do you get back after a hand like that?
I just tell myself my chips go up and down through the entire tournament.
Yeah, he's
and
kind of
I-
a bad one to ask
Well,
here.
you just gotta
Come back.
you have to accept that nobody goes in a straight line up, and if you take a bad beat, I saw a couple guys play great short stack this weekend. It was amazing to watch, and it just they just played well. I mean, you just have to keep your head and not go on tilt. It's disappointing, obviously, but you know you got to deal with it.
Are you a guy that tilts easily, Jason?
Yeah, I think I probably am. I like to think I've got a little bit of discipline at the table, but sometimes I feel like that face we saw on Mike earlier, when you just, every time you open, you get played back at, and every time you have a tough decision. And when I get into ruts like that, I definitely start making suboptimal decisions.
Well, speaking
Action
of
over
tilt,
to
earlier
Joe on the button.
this week at one of our side events, a player flopped
Who pushes all
quad
in?
4s, and the board went runner, and he lost to a straight flush. So That's tough. Dom actually
Then folds in the small blind.
tweeted that. And,
Mike on the big
that's
blind.
not a fun way to go out. That's really brutal.
Yeah.
On day 2, I flopped a straight flush. I played 6-8
Did
of
you
hearts.
really?
Yep, and it came 5-7-9 of hearts. I've never done that before.
Did you get paid off? Is the question.
I
Mike
got about
lays down.
14,000 out of it. I checked the turn, and then
Joe will
because
take the
another
pot.
queen of hearts came down, I was praying he had the ace or king, and because he could have doubled me up. But then I made a bet on the river, and he called it, so I know he had a heart. He just didn't have a high enough
Not the
heart.
good one.
No.
Vin in seat 4 will have the button in this hand. Mike will be the small blind of
The
40,000.
action
Nick with
continues
80,000.
here. It's about 3:50 out
Jacob
here
under the
Central
gun
Time. Of course,
in seat
you
number
folks
1.
are on a little bit of a delay, but we've been playing poker.
We're at
as
the
well. I wanna
27-minute
let you know
mark.
For about 3.5 hours now.
For
We
this
got
level
started a
of
little
40,000,
after,
80,000.
Noon time here Central from the Ameristar Casino Hotel, East Chicago.
You know, to throw their names out there, you were talking about. I was talking about short stack players. Eddie O'Shana.
Action on
Eddie
Daniel in
O'Shana,
seat
sure.
2.
Yeah, he should be. I mean, he's well known, and he played really well. The 2 days I played with him, it was fun to watch.
Folds over to Joe.
6 players left at our
Vin
final
on the
table
button.
here on the Heartland Poker Tour. 6th place finisher guaranteed more than $30,000, and of course they're all jockeying for that first place prize.
Makes a raise to $180,000.
$190,000 plus a $3,600 championship package.
Yeah, you know, right now, basic rough math here, we're playing for about $500,000 right now. The final 6 players playing for $500,000.
No wonder Mike can't stay in his seat.
I know, right? Everybody's standing.
I'll tell you who else, in case I know he always watches these, but Mike Vanderwood. He was really short yesterday on day 2, and he ended up cashing. He did really well. He made a comeback. He was down to like 45,000.
Mike re-raises to 500 and
Wow, look at this re-raise.
535. Vin pushes all in,
Oh,
and Mike folds.
and Mike's
Vin
gonna
will
fold.
take the
Mike
pot.
just got caught with his hand in the cookie jar there.
Yeah.
Trying to make a little move, pick up some chips, and didn't work.
And Mike's really perceptive. He watched Vin open probably 3 different times in the last couple of levels, and then fold to a re-raise. So that was not a bad spot to do that. But didn't work out this time. And Craig, what do you think about putting in that 3-bet with a junk hand like 10-3 off? I mean, you don't want to always save them for your best hands or your most speculative hands, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you've got some read on the table that where you think that the circumstances that you've just seen, I always go with my reads, and sometimes to my detriment. But you know, 10-3 is a
Daniel will
weird
start
hand.
under
But
the
you
gun
know,
in seat
some guys will
number
make a big raise with King Deuce, and you just don't know. You know, so it's if you have a feeling that this might be the thing to do now, and you try it, you just got to be willing to escape it and not make it worse.
Right, like that, yeah.
Who makes a raise
No
to
Hollywood needed
200,000.
there.
Yeah.
He got those right into the
Yep.
mark.
And it was an all or
Fold,
nothing
fold.
decision for Vin. so-
Yeah, absolutely.
You know who else makes those immediate laydowns when they get caught is Aaron Massey. I told him that. I watched him play with Stan at the final table.
And there's nothing wrong with that. is
No,
there?
it's just he
Joe
makes his
Caddis-
play. It's everybody's got to Hollywood it. Like, oh, I got this big decision
Yeah.
to make, and hey, you know what I was trying to do? I tossed him in, get rid of
Yeah.
it. Let's see.
Love watching Aaron Massey at the poker table. He
Yep.
just he's just had a lot of success, you know, and it's not come easy though. You know, he'll be the first to tell you. I mean, you played with him back in the day. I mean, it's doing this for a living is tough. You know, I mean, Craig, you're a part timer. We're all
Action over to
essentially
Mike
part-timers,
on the button,
but,
who
those
pushes
guys
all
that are
in.
out there doing it every day. I respect it.
Nick folds
and,
the small blind.
It's not for the faint of heart. I mean, it's a tough grind, you know.
Well, I had a guy ask me the other day. He said, "You're a real grinder. You play all the time, right?" I said, "No, I really don't."
Well, you're on TV
Jacob
a lot,
folds
is
the
what he
big
Well,
blind.
said.
maybe,
Back
but
over
you
to
know,
Daniel.
I just really don't. I don't go to. I shouldn't say this, I guess, but I don't go to the riverboats to play only because I don't have time. You know, I do have something else that I do for a living. I like doing it. I got people relying on me to do what I do, so it's what I do.
So Mike on the button went all in here for 3